Happy Monday. Welcome back to Retake the Week. It's been a rather busy 7 days, even if we've not had a big grand final to really top it off, shape it up, make it all feel like a full week. We've been all over the place. There has been DracuLAN, there's been the Blast Open, there's been a number of smaller qualifiers and little cups running behind the scenes, I guess, as it were. Not so much in the main focus for everyone, but definitely there and definitely still important. We're going to be breaking that all down, as well as the Eternal Shuffle, Prospects of the Week, and all the other usual segments you're used to seeing on this show in a minute. Before we get into that, we do have to thank the members. Now, the members have made this show viable. They've allowed us to put the show up onto audio sources, I guess, Spotify, podcasting platforms. There you go. We are available on Spotify and Apple Music. I believe there was something preventing us being on Apple Music. I did the settings. It should be there as well now, more consistently. But yeah, if you want to enjoy the podcast as an audio-only experience, be sure to check there. It should be up every Monday after we're done live. I am the one who does that manually, but it is pretty quick now. I figured out a new way to do it. But yeah, members get access to the King's Court, interviews with members of the professional playing pool, casters, coaches and analysts, people with some behind-the-scenes knowledge, let's say. They get access to our BTS segments where we talk a bit more loosely, I think, about a few more topics than we would typically always bring up, but also just generally about stuff that isn't Counter-Strike before the show. And of course, they get access to all the VODs of all the demos we watch, all the breakdowns, and on top of all that, stuff that's not shown here, just videos sometimes. I just make videos that just end up being members only because I feel like it, and because I don't think some of the general public would appreciate them enough. So members get access to that stuff because they're special. They're my favorites. Quack, what have you been up to? Anything to promo?
It's been a lazy week. It's one of those weeks where I kind of just decide that this week is a weekend because I need a break.
This week is a weekend.
No, we have a fun project actually. Yeah, it's not CS related whatsoever, so it's not really for here. But I've been working on it. I can briefly talk about what it is because it's actually kind of fun. It's like a streamer gaming challenge. So my job recently has been to come up with fun gaming challenges and like score them in a fun way, which I'm then gonna pass to a bunch of streamers during like a time specified event. And it's been really fun. Like it's any game. Like I've gone all over the place with different games, and I'm not gonna say what it is, but it's super fun. So that's mostly what I've been doing this week, like trying to figure that stuff out.
You've also been bullying CS2 News on Twitter. That seems to be your...
yes, that's my other hobby. And another creative outlet I've had recently, aside from making those gaming challenges, is just but I'm not done.
There's more coming. There's more punishment. CS2, ready yourself.
Yep.
We're going to get beaten up by Quack. But okay. Yeah, it sounds like a very productive 7 days for you. We're going to get straight into this. The main retake, the main thing to be talking about is the Blast London Open groups. They've been difficult for me. Just going to throw this out here before we get into the main topics. It's been kind of tough. I go into every event with a specific list of players that I want to see play well. Typically, they are prospects. Either prospects I've picked in the past or players I'm kind of excited about that I want to work out. And it's been a very mixed bag, this event. This is why I've titled the stream what I've titled it. The emotional roller coaster. Not only is it, just underdog teams making runs, favorite teams disappointing, it's also my favorite players giving me every sort of emotional journey. Like some of them have been disappointing, some of them have been magnificent, some of them have been both at various moments. So I've just been, on a bit of a roller coaster. And we'll start with a team that I think is hard to place, but certainly, I think, better than we expect, despite the fact that they did have another relatively disappointing exit here, and that's Liquid. You know what? I don't think they're far off. Feels weird to say it, but considering how poor this team has played, how poorly they've looked, how weak the opponents they've managed to lose to are, I still think this team isn't too far off being good again. Now, a lot of that is based on just a few core pieces playing well and just watching them in some of these matchups. It's not that bad. It could be a lot worse. And now, obviously, people are going to look at the G2 series. They got crushed on Inferno. Never really had a chance. Yeah, sure. Do you know who else gets crushed on Inferno by that G2? Almost everyone. that was one of the most absurd performances on T-side I've ever seen by MalbsMd. Like, that Inferno T-side was outrageous. He just walked out and double headshot people for free. It didn't matter if he was flashed, they was flashed. If there was a molly at his feet, a nade in his face, a nade in their face, a smoke, doesn't matter. Malbs was just double decapitating people left, right, and center. I don't really hold that map too much against them. It's more the games they played, you know, the close Dust 2 with Spirit. The fact that they actually did beat Imperial rather than choking that series away. There are moments, there are things to pluck out that you're still hopeful for. Nertz wasn't completely washed at this event. Like, he has had some really rough periods. This game, these games, he hit headshots. Something we've struggled to see in the past. Ultimate had little flashes. Twist still looks like he should be a top 10 rifler. He just doesn't have a top 10 rifler carryable team. You know what I mean? Like, he's not... The team isn't fit for purpose to get him that accolade at the end of the year, but he plays like one. He's got the headshots. He's still sharp. He's still smart. He still twists. So I think if you have faith, as Ice I'm starting to have in this Shuhei Flashy duo at the coach and caller, I think you are just looking for a few potential upgrades, some value picks you could get. Like, if you're not loving NAF and you have the right option available, look for the upgrade. You have the right option to upgrade in place of Nertz, look for the upgrade. Maybe Flashy really likes a player on the sort of aggro lurk to be more just hard aggro. Go looking for a Doom Alpha and Insani. If you can get a bargain deal on someone of that sort of caliber and quality, obviously we know Brazilian CS, you're never going to get a bargain deal. But talk to them when their contracts are up. You know, look for those little upgrades and you might have a legit like contending team. Just with keeping Twists, keeping Shuhei. Everyone else, I'm willing to shop for. I'm willing to take a peek around the market, see what's up.
Yeah. They're running out of time to do that. If they want to make a roster move now, they would not be guaranteed to have that roster move reflect on the ranking before the major invite. So then they would have to play with their other player anyway. Because they're only guaranteed to play 3 games at Fisher Playground. If they do well, they'll play more. But if they go out 0-3, it's a pretty stacked field. Like, this is not one of those where you have free wins. Like, Liquid are one of the worst teams at the event. So I don't think they're going to be able to make that move now. This is the roster we're going to see in Budapest, I believe, unless there's some substitute thing maybe, but it can't be one which moves them to the NA ranking. It has to be something else then. So if you're going to make that move, that's for next season. And then I think you have some broader options as well. You have a lot of transfers, like a lot of it's a transfer period. Obviously, there's a lot of contracts ending. But about this event, I don't like Ultimate's stat line. Like, there's good things to take away from here. Like, Nertz did fine, Naf did fine. He had it. I think he had a couple of maps. Naf where he was really good. It was against Imperial, but that's a series which has been a lot closer than this before, if not even a loss for Liquid. So Ultimate being one of the worst players in the entire event, while Christu is also in attendance, is not exactly a great sign for Liquid. And yeah, we've been talking about how I've been going on and on about how I feel like Liquid should kick one of the Europeans for an American player. It's difficult. Try would have been perfect, but he's apparently way too expensive, which makes sense. Because why else would he stay in Imperial?
It's like, there's no way they've got a cheap price on him. Oh, someone would have snapped him up even within the region, let alone Liquid coming in from the exterior.
Oh, I don't know. I'm slightly disgusted by it, but the thought of Liquid safe just popped in my mind now that as I said that. But yeah, no. Look, no. This is horrible. I don't like that out of Ultimate. I don't like it. Even like I tested, even in his good maps, there's a lot of moments where he's not playing for the team. He's not playing for, like he's actively losing rounds for them, etc., etc. And that is still an issue. This is not. You can't have your opera drop a 0.78 over 7 maps, and you know that's with a series win as well. So that's like, yeah,
they beat Imperial, and despite the fact that they won against Imperial, he still managed to be awful, just awful. Two
of his maps against Imperial, and one of them was a 13-5 win, was worse than the first map against Imperial for him, which is just, you know, you're getting smacked by Imperial and then you kind of show up against Spirit. Like, not even that. It was still shit. But it's like, it just doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good at all. So
yeah,
that I don't
on
like.
The chopping block. He's definitely on the chopping block. If it wasn't for the fact that as soon as you sign a Polish player, you adopt an extra 20,000 fans. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have cut him at the same time Christu got cut, really.
Yeah, I think the improvement you're seeing right now is Flashy coming in. I think that's a part of it. Anyway, they didn't really have a coach towards the tail end of last season. I don't think they vibed a lot with Myther. Flashy, especially coming from that analyst position, is probably less vibey than Myther. Myther, I think the vibe, like the feeling I get from it is very much a hype guy. He's very much a ooh, and it's not to say he doesn't have good analytics. I think he does, but like that's Flashy is more like a let's calm the team down. Let's stay level-headed. That kind of coach, and that seems to vibe better with them. I don't think it's going to take them the whole way. This team is weird, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit, to be honest. But it's been like it's promising signs. You know, overtiming and Spirit themselves a little bit disappointing in this event, but it's hard to. You have to give them a little bit of credit. I think that's true.
Yeah, no, it's not been dire. Like, it's not been what we saw. They bottomed out. We know that. There was no way they could go lower than the loss against VP Prodigy. This event was better. Sure, it's a shame you don't expect to face Spirit in the lower semi-final of a group stage. Yeah. You'd expect to be facing Furia in that match. And honestly, a winnable game for you. You literally just did it. It's not a crazy upset for you to go and make that happen. It would feel a bit disappointing for Furia themselves, but it's not impossible. So yeah, no. Liquid getting better, which is more positive than we have been for a long time when it comes to Liquid. But speaking of teams who have been eliminated, I need to talk about this roster and some of the reactions people have had to their elimination. Na'Vi. Stop blaming Wonderful. Okay, I saw this everywhere. As soon as that game ended, that map 3, and another missed shot from Wonderful, and it's like comments on the YouTube page for the like the highlights that they make that are pretty comprehensive, actually. Again, shout out to all TOs for giving you basically every game recapped nicely, start to finish, just as soon as they end. But every comment just about Wonderful missing shots. I was like, did any of you watch the entire game? Like, did you watch the entire event? How do you come out of this blaming Wonderful and mad at Wonderful for one missed shot on Inferno? You can blame their setups because they run that 2-man top banana setup twice, despite it getting utterly crushed by Tech9s the round before and looking kind of dysfunctional. Honestly, just generally, their 2-man top banana setups were not strong between Wonderful and Makaze. But the fact that he missed the shot once was not the problem overall. Like, Makaze played poorly. He took a lot of opening attempts and just died. He was not feeling it this event, and he wasn't playing well. Bit struggled in his lurks to have impact, in his late rounds to win them out, like just close them. He wasn't strong either. One of the people who wasn't struggling left, right, and center, wasn't doing his job 99% of the time, that wasn't Wonderful. He wasn't a problem. And sure, I've described him as having, like, you know, the easy shots and some low impact shots where he's just, you know, we've got the opening, they're going to now rotate into his AWP and he's going to hit the shot. You know, free shots, lower impact shots. But he was hitting them over and over again throughout the series, throughout the event. He was generally good. They lost because of other more impactful players underperforming. Not because Wonderful missed that one fucking shot and people are just hammering him for it. And it's like, oh yeah, but every event there seems to be this one shot that Wonderful misses, and every time he's got an easy shot in a big game, it's like, yeah, there's been a trend of him in the past missing the shots, but there's also been him just missing the shots consistently and ending up poorly rated, playing poorly, and just being a bad player. That was not the case at this event. That was not the case at this match. Lay off Wonderful and get mad at, you know, the players who didn't perform. Get mad at Bit for once again pulling the rug from underneath you. Just as you thought he was going to be good for the entire season, just shits the bed for an entire event. Be mad at whatever went wrong with Makaze. Be it Makaze missing his shots, or be it, you know, the flashbangs missing, him not being in the right positions, taking the wrong fights. I do think it's mostly on him. But if you want to try and blame Alexi and Blade for it, maybe there's something you saw with your analytical eye that spotted that, the util setups were wrong this event. Whatever, blame that. But the idea that Wonderful is to blame for this Na'Vi team crashing out is preposterous and is the most, like, you know, easy target. Let's set the fucking torches and just burn that guy. Like, no. Blame the people who underperformed. Blame the people who let you down. Not the guy who missed one shot out of hundreds that he hit.
Yeah. I'm watching a little bit of highlights now, and I think there's around here which kind of exemplifies it, which is a lot of, like, even in a game in an event like this, Wonderful still does have stupid mistakes, which I think other people don't have as often. Because this is the when they lose the second round forced by in the second half of Inferno. First of all, M80, what an insane push. Everyone's blind for like 10 seconds. Like, all of the A players are blind if you're on a force buy. So I'm going to be watching that round, and I'm going to be stealing it. All of that utility. But also it's the fact that, like, he ends up in a 3-on-5, like the only A player in a 3-on-5. And there's this really stupid thing where, like, he sees somebody drop out a balcony and he plays trigger discipline. Like, instead of going for that shot, you know, it looks really dumb because he's just watching him with his crosshair, and then he gets peeked by somebody else and he's kind of caught off guard and he dies. That looks stupid. It's not what lost the round. Like, it absolutely didn't lose the round. He was never winning that when he's got four Ts on the bomb side. And, like, you know, playing trigger discipline on one of them isn't going to change the outcome of the round whatsoever. What lost the round was Imi and Bit just absolutely getting fucked by flashes. That's the, like, that's
that is a scientific term as well. Yeah, that is a scientific term.
But if you look at this, you know, you're watching this round in real time. I do sort of register that, like, wow, Wonderful. That it is a mistake from Wonderful. It's just not at all impactful whatsoever. If that was on a 5-on-5, then yeah, I would have probably thought it was a bit stupid because he gets nothing. Like, he plays trigger discipline and gets nothing. But it doesn't lose a round. The round was already lost, more or less. Like, there was nothing else he could have done for that position. And that's, I could see why. You know, if you don't think about the fact that Emma and Bit just lost fights because they were full blind against pistols, if you don't think about that, then yeah, you might just watch this round and think, oh, Wonderful. Well, he died. He died a stupid death, and draw the conclusion that he lost the round because of that. He didn't. So, yeah, it's it
might be an act of clemency for people to be like, those two guys were flashed. He wasn't. It's like, yeah, but that point.
Yeah,
it's just too late. It's just too late.
Yeah.
So no, I do think people have been far too aggressive on Wonderful. It's like, imagine, like, Immer probably had is it his best event of the season overall in terms of his, like, actual average output, because, you know, he had that amazing map at that event earlier, but, like, basically overall this has probably been his best event of the season. Imagine if he on map 3, like, lost one aim duel, and then everyone was just like, oh, and Immer misses again. Like, and imagine if I came on the show, it's like, Immer's fucking dog shit. He lost them another event. Cut him now. It's the same sort of reaction. It's like, no, you're losing your mind over one missed shot relative to the real problem. That's nothing. So no, I'm tilted at the community reaction surrounding specifically Wonderful, a man I've been very critical of, happy to criticize over and over again. Why am I running defense for this kid?
I'll give you, it's by a 0.01 margin, it's his highest KPR event, but he has a pretty shit DPR. So I would say it's a funny thing. Both the prestige events were better, and those are like by far his best events of the year. I have just noticed, just as a side note.
I didn't say year, but yeah, for the season. For the season. I was going, but yeah.
Well, Cologne is better as well. So that's one of them. Cologne and Cado, they had top 4 in both of them. Emi was really good in both of them. But yeah,
okay.
I have just noticed how he's a prestige event player, apparently. No, yeah, you're right.
This year, yeah.
I think people just get into a habit of, like, you know, you have this narrative about how Wonderful isn't perfect. He isn't the best. He is, in a lot of instances, bad. Emma, for a long time on this Navi roster, was bad. Even last year when he was doing very well towards the tail end of the portion. He still had a major win where he was one of the worst major winners of all time statistically.
It was horrific.
And he's,
yeah.
Yeah, and also like we also had like the whole thing about how he was eco-fragging a lot. He isn't doing that anymore, but he still really has that reputation. Like you see people still mentioning how him, he probably gets a big boo, like probably gets dumpstered by rating 3.0 because he's an eco-fragger. But if you check the stats this year, he hasn't been eco-fragging much at all. Like I think that was something Nero pointed out. Is like no, he doesn't get docked by 3.0 because he doesn't eco-frag nearly as much anymore.
Yeah,
so,
this year just doesn't frag, on average. He just kills less people this year, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, plus minus 0 because he stopped getting the eco frag. He still gets all the other frags at exactly the same rate. But yeah, it's that's you get into these narratives, and then at the same time you have the narrative. Bit is a 2-time major champion. He is an Inferno god. Like obviously, Bit can't be the guy losing an Inferno map, right? Surely not. Surely Bit can't be the guy underperforming on an Inferno third map in an elimination series. Surely that can't happen. So I guess that's
unfortunately it just does now. It does happen a lot. Bit has not been consistent.
Yeah. I mean it's kind of silly. It's like it's kind of silly. It takes a long time for these narratives to shift sometimes, which is a shame.
But yeah, I've got you, man. Wonderful. I may be harsh sometimes. I may be a critic, but I got your back, bro. I got your back. All right.
There's a first for everything, including Wonderful getting praised on Retake the Week.
Yeah. Why not? Why the hell not? But okay, on to our next team, and this was a surprise in the right direction. Towards the end, or right at the end, rather, of the double swing, I made a pick. A pick that would go down in infamy. Because I would force it to, by non-stop mentioning that I picked them. I had to take M80. They were the best of the choices left to me. I made the case as to why, described pretty much perfectly how they would go on to win all their games here. So in that case, I will also auto-fillet. They were fantastic in their opening map against Vitality. A ridiculous T-side of Overpass. It seemed also at this event, by the way, that elite teams just aren't allowed to be good on Overpass. Like, they've just not been playing it. If you want a free upset win, just pick Overpass into one of these big dogs. But anyway, they then lose the next two maps as they should, but go on this lower bracket run. That has just been insane. Like, so fun to watch. Beating Virtus Pro, almost predictable at this point with VP's play. Beating Na'Vi, that's the big shock, especially as they started to choke away Inferno. Fantastic to close it out. Ballsy calls from Sin to go for the same round twice. Once with pistols, once with rifles. Just go for it twice in a row. Works out perfectly. M80 now in the lower final versus Fnatic today. Today is going to be one of our worst performing episodes in terms of the live stream, just because there's going to be CS on the entire time. Because we go live right as FaZe Na'Vi is live, but Vitality FaZe, rather.
FaZe Vitality, yeah.
So, yeah, M80, the unexpected turnaround, the big story non-expected from this event. Man, it's been so fun to watch them. Lake, furiously insistent that he has to take an opening fight, has to take duels, has to re-peek, has to make it work, has to force the pace of the round as every time he can. Been so fun to watch. Hexed, really clutch, really composed. And that's been the key to their success. I mean, Slacks has been fine. Sin, not really that impact on the frag, just the occasional round. And Swisher, map by map, highly inconsistent. But the key to this team has been that opener and that closer finding their form, finding their feet, and just carrying them through. Like, that's been those two and a prayer. Some good calling. You've got to give them that. But man, Lake and Hexed, NA's hope. Who'd have thought?
Yeah. It's, the two sort of parallel runners in this last London event, where we had M80 literally start the event by playing a Challenger League series from Europe at 3 a.m. the night before the Vitality series, and then giving Vitality a run for the money. And also Fnatic obviously playing DracuLAN at the same time. They're playing this last London event from Romania, and they're going to square off in this final game. So, yeah, also unexpected that Fnatic are here, I think. But M80 are the big one, and I think M80 probably Yeah, Fnatic maybe lucked out a little bit. They played Ecstatic, which I think is a comfortable matchup for them, and GamerLosion, who were ass. M80, they really had to earn their pay to get here. Knockout Virtus Pro, knockout Navi. Now they're here. So that I really like. They are a good team. They're a good team, and I like what I'm seeing. They've had a lot of local play in NA recently, which helps their overall stat line. They haven't really appeared in that many like bigger events in this.
No, they
fall
haven't
season
been
so far.
qualifying. They haven't been attending a lot of stuff. Like they were at Stana last season rather, and then the major stage 1 or stage 2, wherever they got eliminated. Like they didn't do a whole lot last season, and this season, this has been their first real run, and this is going to propel them up the leaderboards. I bet you they're going to be higher ranked on VRS. They're going to get more invites in the future. This is exactly what they needed, really, to spark some life.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is gonna. Unfortunately, it's not gonna happen now because the final Blast Open series happens later today. Unless Valve are like cautious of this and decide to put the rank update out later, they usually put it out at 7. And the last Blast Open game is gonna start at 7:30. So unless they wait for that, none of the Blast Open games are going to count for the next official VRS update. So they won't see the effects of this until the major ranking update comes. But yeah, which is a shame for them, because today is when the next ranking update comes out. So that's it's a big shame for them. I think they've had. I'm just going to check the the Navi game, what the outcome was. They gained 4 spots, which is huge. From that Navi game, especially like in this upper region of the ranking, that's the difference for them. They're inside the top 30 from that, and another 2 from Virtus Pro. So very well done. But yeah, really good. And about Fnatic, that's the other side of this game. I think they lucked out a little bit more. I think they had Ecstatic is the game Fnatic play occasionally. Like they play Ecstatic before. They should probably beat them for sure, with the way they're moving and the way they're looking and the way Ecstatic have some players very far down the scoreboard. And then GamerLosion, obviously, we're going to talk about. I think we are. Maybe we're not going to talk about them, but they're in the thumbnail. They are cursed.
Yeah, we can take it procedurally and stop jumping around at random. Thankfully, I had Fnatic Fnatic lined up, but still, that's
Fnatic, why I moved on to it. Yeah,
we can talk about it. We can talk about it if you're done with M80 that quickly. It's fine. No, Fnatic, for me, this is nonsense. Like their opening series loss, expected. I didn't expect them to do anything this event. The fact they get to match up with Ecstatic, who have challenged them to a race to the bottom, is fair enough. That should be a win. Like they've challenged, Ecstatic have challenged the rest of the scene to see who can disappoint the hardest, and shit, they are winning. After their brief peak in like the top 30, they managed to reach, and they were playing Liquid in Blast Bounty. They seemed like a team. It could be one to watch. TMB's calling combined with that trio of riflers who are not spectacular. There's no donk amongst them, but who all put up solid performances time and time again. Who give you like this level to play around, basically. Like you're going to get something out of them. There was some hope, but at this event, only one of those 3 riflers managed to do anything of any consistency. I mean, Syra had a pistol round. Newt, fucking Pingu ass motherfucker, did some stuff, but beyond be funny, a funny name on broadcast, he wasn't really that present. Like this was a very disappointing showing from Ecstatic, and we know Christu's their worst player, but he didn't have to prove it here again. Like he tried really hard to show us just how bad he is, and it was awful. So thank the heavens he's been cut, but still, this Ecstatic team have really, really disappointed us. So Fnatic, good job, you beat them. That was just thank you. You needed to beat them. You did beat them. Good job. Move on. Crazy Cypher performance on Ancient. He's just been popping off on Ancient left, right, and center recently. And then they play the GamerLosion series, and it's a game of inches. Right? If you're GamerLosion, you come into this, you should be wary, because Fnatic have made it to you, and you've made it to them. Like you're not exactly guaranteed to be winning. This isn't a layup. but at the same time, you should be expecting to win.
Absolutely.
And the clutch moments, those little moments where you needed to just edge them out, you were outdone by Crims, by BlameF. They were just slightly more composed, slightly more clutch than you. Now, it shouldn't have been a close game from start to finish, but it was. And they just managed to squeak it over in a way you couldn't. Like, they were just in the final seconds of rounds, in the final moments, the final rounds of maps, just a little more composed. And yeah, GamerLosion, they've only got themselves to blame. They should be in this decider game versus M80 and favored to win it. Instead, they're going home. Again, disappointed and again, seemingly cursed because they got no AWP play. They got no AWP play. Doesn't matter what his KD says, Kersey just wasn't very impactful, wasn't very impressive. And a part of that is playstyle, and I can get into that in a second when we get to GamerLosion. But Fnatic, yeah, credit to them, fitting it over the line. But it does always feel like when you beat this GamerLosion, if you're an underdog beating them, it's GamerLosion beating themselves.
Absolutely. And I do want to go back to M80 now, because now we have the Fnatic M80 game. And that's why I said it.
What, we're going back now? Oh my God.
No. I just want to say, it's pretty clear you think M80 are going to win.
Fuck my lower thirds. We're going everywhere.
This is why I set it up this way. Because we have the game, right? And this is the game. One of these teams are going to London for LAN. In this week. It's pretty clear you think M80 are going to win. I think that's not exactly.
I want them to win. I unfortunately can't guarantee that they will, because there are players on Fnatic that I think are single-handedly able to win series. In terms of, basically, I just think BlameF has a carry in him that he hasn't given us yet. I think Jambo is, as an explosive player, almost unmanageable. When he's on, you almost can't handle him. Like, he can be that good. And while Cypher on the aggregate has not been good on Fnatic, he's just had these ancients, these maps that he's just popped off and dominated on that worry me. So I do think M80 should win. I hope M80 do win. I'll be rooting for them. I'll be, obviously, for a number of reasons. But I do have a bad feeling that, yeah, they could just lose this game because Fnatic have game wreckers that can, at any given moment, just make it happen.
Yes. I do feel like the trend line here is that we think M80 has played a great game, which is like they're playing good Counter-Strike, which is sustainable. They're playing pretty well on most fronts with most of the players. While Fnatic they lucked out with the bracket. They had a little bit of a very tight game against the choking GamerLosion. It's less sustainable to see. And but they're also coming up with a LAN title yesterday, which was, I think, a bit unexpected considering the field. So
yeah, we'll get into that.
I could see this going either way. Honestly, I could see both of these teams going to London. To be honest, I could, but I want to give it to M80, just because of that. It's like one of them should be winning and one of them shouldn't, but keep doing so. So I don't know which way to throw this. To be honest, there's good talent on both teams, obviously, which we already talked about. M80's players are also very solid individually. So
yeah, there's no GamerLosion. There's no M80 player that for me is just like there. Like he's just on that level to just carry this team necessarily again. Like I can't rely on another set of clutches from Hext, another crazy Lake outburst where he just runs into a bomb site, hits 4 headshots. Like I can't guarantee I'm going to get that again. And I feel like as impressive as certain elements of their gameplay has been in terms of the calling, it's not always all there. They do run into some stacks. They do play sometimes a little more predictable than I'd like. So I do think I have enough concern to not guarantee this is going to be like, yeah, definitely going to win, no doubt about it. But I'm just worried.
Yeah, it is a bit worrying. Yeah, let's see how it goes. It's that's one of the later ones, I think, right? It's it's just in the afternoon, probably just as we go off the air.
Yes, we'll have time to go watch them lose and cry. Well, I'll cry. Yeah. I don't know if you'll cry. It's Crim's on the team, so you know. But yeah, we will be getting to GamerLosion, as I've decided to call them in my greatest moment in comedy. But before that, we do have to talk about a roster or a player rather, that wasn't really off to a hot start this season. But at this event, Masterclass. MalbsMD Masterclass. It has been a ridiculous performance out of him. Like, I'm talking untenably good. Like, you can't do this again, but Lord, am I going to enjoy watching you do it this time. So he's been on the T side specifically, putting up like opening kills left, right, and center, and it's just so damn good. Like, the attempt rate's at almost 50%, the success rate's over 60. Just impossible stuff. Impossible stuff. Like, in terms of the most productive just openings players, like entry players at this event, Donk's not even top 4. And a part of that's your Kindar, a part of that is Lake, but a big part of that is MalbsMD's T-sides have been unfair, unplayable, and it's carried G2 through. Well carried. They've not exactly had to play close games, but when he wasn't doing it is when they lost to Mouse. So you know what I mean? Like, when MalbsMD's slowed down, they've not been as productive. And my God, when he's been hitting, that Inferno versus Liquid, it's not cinema, it's just sexual. Like, I think there is an element of just sexual power about what I was seeing on the server. Like, tantalizing in all the wrong ways.
This is what we would see last year at Mobs, that extremely good T-side. And
that insane
it showed up here
T-side,
as well.
yeah.
He is second to Donk there. Donk is up to a 183. Fucking wild. But he's up to a 167.
Rating, but just opening stuff.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but it does reflect in the rating as well. Like, the rating is absolutely up there as well on T-sides. So insane out of him. It's more of last year's Mobs, I think, which we didn't really have so far in this year as much.
Yeah.
He does just destroy that Liquid, like the Liquid Inferno side there against Liquid, and Solid and all the like. I guess there's a fly quest here which does inflate things a little bit. Rating 3.0 is not ranking adjusted, but it is so good, and that opening efficiency as well. It's like it's him and Yakindar who are up there in terms of attempting a lot, winning a lot. Lake as well, of course, but in terms of like they're winning over 60% while attempting over 30%. That is very difficult to maintain. But they are managing to do it, and it's paid off. Fewer up in playoffs. G2, I would say they have a chance. Like, even against Spirit, I would say they have a chance. It's a bit of a weird event for them, which we might touch on as well. But it is a little bit, Zontix is going to be out after this. He's played pretty damn shit. Wouldn't say it's a quiet event from Donk outright because he's been really good. But
no, it's just been different looking, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about. But no, G2, they don't really have a great chance in this game. Like, just on paper, right? Just thinking about it, the two teams who's been playing better CS, we have to admit, it has been Team Spirit. As much as everyone wants Team Spirit to be playing terrible CS and for Chopper to be the worst IGL in the world and all this stuff, it's just not been true. They've been playing decent CS. A lot of it is fueled by Donk. That is the main focus for them. But it has been decent CS. So I do think there's a very small chance G2 win. But that small chance is fueled by, if we can get like 8-9 rounds on T-sides just off Malbs doing bonkers stuff, maybe our CT play can be good enough to just hold us over. Maybe Heavy got a few good clutches or good moments. Hunter having his own little moments of impact. There could be something in the CT sides. And remember, on the T sides, they do also then have Mattis, who's, whilst not as actively participating in the T side openings, has still been putting up headshots left, right, and center. He's still also been a very productive, more aggressive, impactful rifler. So there are other elements on this team, but I think the key thing they're going to need to activate to upset a team of the likes of Spirit is just pure Malbs fragging. Like, we need to see that in like raw, uncut, just potent form.
Yeah, but that also really is an impossible that we're going to see. And speaking of like players taking over games, G2 at the very least they have more options there than what Spirit have, because Spirit have a one-trick pony who does it 95% of the time. G2 at least, there's a lot of players who could really click here and who could really do well, and that's the chance that I think they have. They have the chance that if we get a really shitty game out of Zontix, as we've had all event, if we get, a subpar game out of Shiro, and then we get like a heavy god and a Mobs and a Mattis just sort of activate, then yeah, this could absolutely be a G2 win as well. So I'll give it a small chance. It's definitely a bigger chance than it would have been a couple of weeks ago, because this is a bit of a nothing event for Spirit. It doesn't have gigantic VRS implications for anybody attending. It's not a gigantic event to begin with at all. Like I won't say it's a Mickey Mouse, but it's not a huge deal, I feel like. And they know they have a roster change coming in, so they would have expected this would have been the debut, but they're gonna have to wait. So with that, it's like, yeah, I could give it to G2 here, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see that game as well.
It's a fantasy, but it would be fun to see. Haha. Comic, right? Onto the thumbnail. GamerLosion. Thank you. I am funny. Thank you. Anyway, what a team. Every time I talk about this team, I feel like I'm either glazing them for doing something fantastically or disappointed that I can't glaze them for doing that thing fantastically again. At this event, yeah, very much disappointed. The Virtus Pro win, for some reason, the bookies had them as underdogs. Actual insanity. Thank you for the free money. Yeah, crazy performance out of Towson on that match, which I wasn't expecting, but hey, we got some of the stuff I was expecting. PR, impactful. Rez hit a couple beauties. Love what I saw. They then played Vitality, and I saw the veto, and I immediately thought, map 1, train pick, not really a map GamerLosion play, probably seen something, probably have some prep. Could be an upset. They're not favoured, but could be an upset. Map 2, Inferno. Vitality pick that. I'm like, ooh, GamerLosion. Pretty good on this map. They've picked it a lot in the past. They know how to pick teams apart on this map too. If I'm not taking this match to go at least 3 maps, which one am I? So, had to take a cheeky swing on that. Map 3 is just such a disappointment. Because Nuke is a map they can play. It's a tactical map. It's a map where they have pieces who can go and take, cheeky fights. You can try and find heads-up duels towards, outer, towards ramp. You got, your riflers that are so sharp. You can set them up to really catch other teams off with their sort of aim, with these heads-up fights. And nothing worked. Absolutely nothing worked. I mean, they start on the CT side of this map and just get dominated. Wrecked by Vitality's calling. And I was like, that's just not the GamerLosion I expect to see. To get completely read, completely manipulated, and just dumpstered in map 3. Just very disappointing. They then go to Fnatic, which we've talked about ad nauseum a bit. But yeah, that was... Yeah. The Vitality loss shocked me. The Fnatic loss depressed me.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why they keep doing good stuff, they keep doing bad stuff, is because they do a lot of good stuff and they do a lot of bad stuff as well. Like the Kersey move, I think so far it cannot be described as anything other than a failure. And
worst move of the entire season? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah. I'm starting to question how bad would Slend really have been in this position at the moment, to be honest. I don't think he would have been that much worse, if at all. But maybe, time might prove me wrong. Let's see. I'll give them time to work with this. But yeah, it's not looking that good.
The real question we have to answer: who is the worst AWPer right now, ZywOo or Kersey?
Yeah, who's the worst French AWPer? I cannot believe people were talking before he actually played with GamerLosion. People were talking about how Vitality were going to buy Kersey and let ZywOo play the rifle. People were genuinely saying that might be something which happens in a couple of years.
Yes, some people also take crack.
I can't fucking believe anybody said it. I cannot believe it.
Yeah, was never on that hype train. Would never have been behind that. That's just dumb. If you'd ever watched a Kersey POV, you'd be like, oh no, that cannot be the way forward. Like, let's not do that. But yeah, GamerLosion, the AWPing cannot be ignored. I broke down, sort of the demo versus Vitality on Train, explained, why Rating 3.0 had him so low and why, realistically, he wasn't playing that well. He deserved the rating he got. His kills were pretty meaningless, his deaths problematic, and overall, not the key to them winning rounds, which if you watch the game, you will know over and over again. Towson, big multi-kills, PR, occasional impact, many poor deaths. If you watched him play as well, you saw some poor deaths, but big impact kills, big swing moments. Towson, no, sorry, back to Kersey. Kersey might as well have just not been there sometimes. Like, when you see them win a round, you could have not done anything, and they'd still win. Other rounds, they'd lose. He'd never even seen a person until the round was beyond saving. So the way he's being used, both on the AWP and the rifle, is almost Wonderful-esque, right? Where it's like, typically I don't expect him to see him have an engagement beyond, like, if he's set up for an opening pick, maybe he'll get that pick. But after that, it's very much a plodding sort of just, he's behind someone, he's behind some people, he's going to trade if he can, and then see if he can play the post plant properly. Except he does it way worse than Wonderful. Because when he does get the opportunities, he's more likely to miss. But the general takeaway is that he's just not involved in a lot of the gameplay. So when he does get kills, it's usually too late. Or, well, it's too late one way or the other. They've either lost or they've won the round. It's just, you could have had almost anyone in that position. So yeah, Kersey, worst signing of the season? I'm struggling to come up with one that's worse.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very good. Right. Yeah, my Zoom meeting has just started. This is fucking shit. I have an obligatory Zoom meeting at 1 p.m. And I have just heard I might need to introduce myself while recording the podcast. This is bad. This is really bad.
So I'd recommend there's this new invention called the mute button. I'd use the mute button.
I will be using mute button. So if I just, I'll have a hand signal. I'll do like this or something, and that I cannot talk. And you'll have to carry the show. This is. I was hoping I could just like sit in on this and occasionally glance at the PowerPoint, but it turns out they did just say when your name appears on screen, you can introduce yourself. And I might like this. I might just leave. I might just leave this fucking meeting. Yeah. All right. Let's carry on. Let's carry on with the show.
Yeah. So right, one of the big things that stood out to me was a slightly different looking Spirit. I wasn't sure if I was seeing things or not, because I was watching the gameplay and I'm like, something feels wrong. And at this point, I'm watching Liquid Spirit, I think. Yeah, I think it was Liquid Spirit, on Dust 2 especially. I'm like, something's not quite right. Is Donk playing bad? No. I kind of got to the conclusion eventually, no, not really. What's going on? Donk is actually just not being very aggressive, which for me is strange. And when you look into it, when you actually start going through who's doing what, Zwei, all of a sudden, far more involved on the aggressive side of things at this event. Actually finding a lot of impact, being surprisingly effective in a more aggressive capacity, and generally playing a little bit more like a star rifle. Which to me was not a look I'm really expecting out of Spirit, considering how the Zwei replacement for Magic started, Very much just, here you go. Take Magic's spots, play Magic's style, see what you can do. It feels like we've gone level by level. As events have gone on, he's become more and more Zwei and less Magic's. I feel like it's the only way I can describe it. And at this event, he might be going full Zwei. He's allowed to be aggressive on the T side, take those fights, win those fights. That's been the impressive part, really, is that he's winning them, to be honest, more than just necessarily he's taking them. And Donk has been allowed to trade him. He's been allowed to trade more in general, be more live late in rounds to close. And now Donk has also had some terrible ideas enabled, such as grabbing an AWP and running up mid on Dust 2. Never recommended. But all in all, Donk has still been putting up insane fragging numbers. It's just done it in a slightly different capacity, like a slightly different style. not sure how this is going to work with Tnir coming in for Zontix, because Zontix, by extension, has been even more passive, it feels like even less involved. So maybe there's going to be another change coming in terms of how they play at the next event, when they do have Tnir. But right here, yeah, I had to take a second to figure out what I was seeing. And turns out, yeah, this is just a slightly different style of play from a team we've become very accustomed to playing a certain style.
I can only imagine that's an adjustment knowing that Tnir is going to come in, because it
But
does
how would it make
feel...
sense?
I don't know, but like...
A more passive
it must be a
Zontix is coming in
thing.
for Zontix. Like, I don't quite get that part, personally.
I don't know. I feel like they must have been practicing with Tnir at this point, especially with this being online. They don't have a lot of travel days. They don't have a lot of that, and they're gonna have a big break before the next event as well. So they're gonna have a lot of time to practice with this. But I wonder if this is something they've seen where they feel like if we can play Zwei more like Zwei used to play, you know, a little bit more like that, it's like more than some of their parts. So they're gonna get more out of Tnir. I wonder if that's something they've seen. And since they were expecting to use Tnir at this event, they might have already practiced all that stuff. And that might have already been. I think they were, because it was very much like one of the storylines. At least everybody else was expecting that EWC would be the last one, because otherwise, why wouldn't Heroic have been able to attend the event with Tnir? Like, why wouldn't they have just announced it a bit later? Why did they have to announce it now? So Tnir was leaving after Esports World Cup. In theory, there was no reason why he couldn't leave after Blast Open, because Heroic were supposed to be here. Of course, they would have had this. I think it is a visa issue because, you know, UK being from Belarus and getting a UK visa might be tricky. So I think that is probably the reason in the end. So yeah, but I'm assuming this is something they've seen, because this has also been a move coming for a while, and it's something I can only imagine. That's where it comes from. And I guess we're gonna see the next event. We're gonna see them at. We're not gonna see them at Fisher, I don't think.
No.
Where are we gonna see them?
It's like next month, I think. It's quite a long gap between events for them.
Yeah, Donk hates those breaks. He said doesn't like it. Yeah, they're gonna play Pro League. So wait, Tnir's not gonna play the major. I just realized.
Why can't he?
Because Pro League ends after the major cutoff, and that's their next event. Tnir has to play 5 games with Spirit if he's going to be in Budapest.
Does he have to?
Yeah, he has to. Otherwise, he's not on the invited roster. Something's going to be. They could maybe do. Oh, okay, he might not get stickers. He might still be able to play with like a substitution thing. I don't know if you can still do that. That's the thing. I don't know if you can even still do that properly. That's weird. Okay, he's not going to get stickers. We're not going to have Tnir stickers. That much I can say for sure. But it would be insane if he doesn't get to play Budapest. Tnir coach buff. Yeah, wow, okay.
This is one of those things where I'm convinced there's going to be like an exception procedure. Like, if we know it this fucking far back enough, Spirit could just ask for an exemption. Like, we've had this done for other things. Like,
let's see. But I can only imagine that's where the playstyle change comes from. Because when you have a roster change coming, for sure, then, you know, and we even had the roster change itself was more or less confirmed. Spirit definitely knew about it 2 or 3 weeks ago that it was gonna happen. Then, if you make playstyle changes after that, I can only imagine it's as a result of the thing, and that's gonna be interesting to see. Like, let's see how that works out with the firepower out of Tnir.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how to explain this. Too many cooks is kind of my problem here, because if I need to give Zwei a bunch of, like, because he's been very aggressive on the CT side especially, like, if Zwei is going to be very active on my CT play, Donk's also going to be fairly active in general. He gets to do a lot of what he wants. How am I also going to have a third active rifler? Who's going to anchor anything? Like, Chopper can't play both bomb sites. So I'm just a bit concerned about how that'll end up playing out. Now, probably what I think is going to happen is that we're going to get to real events, and Zwei will not be that active.
I was just about to say, could it just be that, like, for whatever reason, Zontix, knowing he was supposed to be out or is going to be out, is like, either he is like, fuck this, or they're like, there's no reason why we should play Zontix like this anymore. Let's just play out the event, and they're basically using Zwei as what Tenir might be, like more aligned Zwei more with Tenir, and Zontix is just old Zwei, or like what Zwei is supposed to be. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe they figured this is a bit of a throwaway event. Let's just see what we can get out of Zwei. Let's try to test his limits a bit. Maybe there's something like that. So could be a lot of things. This is something I would hope somebody, if they make it to London, this is something I hope we could get somebody at HLTV, ask them in an interview. That would be interesting.
Yeah, could be interesting. No, I'm just having to scroll through some of these games they played. Because he has been playing towards A. I'm just trying to figure out where he's finding his aggressiveness exactly. Like, he is still playing the A anchor. Like, where is he finding this kind of action? Like, what set plays are they running exactly? Double con stack him and Donk. That's one adjustment. Don't know. There's no answer in my Mirage demo that I just checked. It's a confusing look. Let's put it that way. To this team, rather. Dust 2, he is the long player, so I guess in that sense he is an early point of contact. It could be a coincidence just on maps played.
Could be. Pretty small sample size as well.
A pretty small sample, but it's an event. Oh yeah. That's the other thing. Yeah, so he has been pushing long on Dust 2 a fair bit. Like, he's been given the run of the land basically on that side of the map, so maybe there's an aspect of that across other maps as well, potentially. Just what I'm gleaming from a quick look over some of these demos. Yeah. So I feel like this sort of thing I want to answer for myself.
Members only stream in the week.
No, the stream will be public. The demo won't be. The VOD won't be. Yeah, and he's been... Yeah, again, in his new responsibilities, he's been aggressive. Yeah, he's just being aggressive. And that could be a problem as well. So, yeah. We'll look into it. We'll solve it. Anything else you want to bring up from this event? I mean, we currently have Vitality playing FaZe. It'd be more of a conversation if Vitality had been eliminated or FaZe hadn't played so well. Like... Well, they played basically on par with what they should be playing. Like, it's weird. Neither one of those teams feels particularly controversial right now. Despite, well, they should be more controversial. We should be talking about them more, but, like, for some reason it just feels fine from both of them. Frozen's played well and they win. Brokey's overperformed a bit and they win, you know? Feels like FaZe are back.
I think it's, I think there's a good level out of FaZe. I think there's topics about Jacob, but I think we'll save that until the LAN. They are confirmed for the LAN. Let's talk about that once we have the main event.
Yeah, Mal's Furia, Vitality FaZe. You'll have your time in the sun. Let's get into some other stuff. We do have some small site retakes to get over. I'm going to start with DracuLAN, which I think is going to be an interesting little topic. Obviously, hard to watch all the games from this event, given the unfortunate clash with Blast Open London. We understand entirely what it feels like to clash with an event and have no one watch you. So it's okay, DracuLAN. We're here for you. You can cry on our shoulder.
Oh.
But it was an interesting little event put up in Bucharest with some cool teams in attendance. So there was a group stage with a bunch of teams who were invited, but also, some local teams from Romania. In the AIM Club, Infinite Insiders, and then Hyper Spirit as well. It was like the locals who managed to sign on the open registration. But then also Nexus is there, but they're more of a legit side that we expect something from.
A bit of a dead thing, I think. They've made roster changes, and I think I've heard that they're gonna... This roster wasn't exactly alive either.
But anyway, far more important and still more prestigious than AIM Club, Infinite Insiders, and Hyper Spirit. The point remains. So, on top of that, we had playoff invites. So we had NIP, Passionate Gentlemates, and Fnatic here, just play off directly, which is an interesting little format to run. It's like a combination of CCT and a real LAN, almost, in that sense, where it's like you're playing at LAN, but you have a playoff invite, which usually you only see in those CCT sort of cups. A cool way to get those teams involved, to have them as part of the... have them as part as just the playoffs only, otherwise it'd be a bit trivial for them to be playing some of these lower tier teams so early. But what ended up happening was honestly just surprising. If you look at the teams that were invited, only one of them actually had an impressive run. Yeah, only one of them has an impressive run and makes the final and wins, and that's Fnatic. Everyone else, NIP, Gentlemates, and Passion UA, go out pretty quickly. NIP, Passion UA, first round, Gentlemates, second round, and the other invitee was Fnatic. And they made it all the way to the final and won. So yeah, 3 or 4 out immediately. Strange, isn't it?
It is a bit strange. I was very impressed by the level that Eyeballers had at this event. And the big highlight of that is the series against NIP, where they go off this pretty easy group stage. Like, they have the Nexus, they have the Infinite, they beat them both pretty comfortably in best of ones and make it out of there. Play NIP, I expected this to be a straight up loss, for sure. I think NIP were the favorites at the event as a whole.
Yeah.
And like the Eyeballers loss is a big loss, obviously. But then also the Ends loss, I think, is very disappointing for NIP. Especially with how I think this Ends team is pretty weak in general. So yeah, that's a disappointing loss. Passion UA as well. They're coming in. Obviously, this is a new roster. These were the first 2 series this team play with Kvem whatsoever. Probably some growing pains there. It is a little bit of an adjustment. But I didn't expect them to lose to Monty. I didn't expect them to lose to 9 even. Shouldn't happen. And that's very disappointing for them. Gentlemates, I can understand that. They still beat 9, which is a side which they've played before. And like, they've played them online. I can see why they win that. Then they also lose to Monty. Monty had a really good run here, and I can't really... That Gentlemates win is... The fact they dumpster this Gentlemates team is kind of worrying. And I think it kind of does show the weaker side of what I think this Gentlemates team is, about how this is... They have potential. It's pretty solid players. I don't think it's overly sustainable. I don't like the team in its current iteration that much, in the sense that it is an old movie star roster which failed for a reason. And then once again, they can't do anything against Ends. And that's worrying.
Yeah.
So that I'm not overly excited about. But yeah, I want to highlight Eyeballers, obviously. I think all 3 of these series were extremely positive for Eyeballers, because, as we've talked about previously on the show, the bar is quite fucking low for Eyeballers at the moment.
Oh, it's under the earth. It's so damn low.
Yeah, and even with that, they've had a great run online. They've had a lot of series wins. It's been like they've been grinding out a series a day in United 21, European Pro League, unranked events, and stuff like that. I think this momentum is what takes them into this event, gives them enough power to beat NIP, like absolutely shatter them on 2 maps as well. On 2 maps they win, 13-3. They take the opening map off of Fnatic on a very even Mirage. And then they also take the opening map off of 9, which is a more comfortable matchup for them. But 9, still solid. Like, this was the one maybe, like, this is the one they definitely maybe should have won, Eyeballers. If you're looking at how they played against NIP and Fnatic, you would expect that. But 9 are also not a bad side of it by any means. So it's an acceptable loss, I think. But the fact that, I was talking to people who said that they weren't going to make it out of groups. I was talking to people who said they might honestly lose to Infinite. Like, Nexus probably should beat Eyeballers in that group stage. If like just on the face of it, you might think so. But they absolutely make it. They absolutely make really good work out of this. And yeah, that NIP win, I will just say, it won't show in the stats. You might have missed it entirely. Did you see the JW ace?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, like it's against an eco. It is against an eco.
Oh, okay.
But the way he does that, it's so flashy. It's so good with 1 mag, he gets 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like turning around, flipping around, spraying everywhere, gets everybody, and then he cleans up the final one. And that was like, it's been a long time since I was genuinely impressed by a JW round, which is weird to say. Like, it's been a while, but that was really flashy. That was extremely flashy. And yeah, look, it won't show in the stats as well. Like I said, they won't show in the rating because it's against an eco, and now we have round swing. But man, it's good to see good highlights out of JW, I think. So yeah, that was solid.
You may have found a lower bar than the Eyeballers' good series bar in terms of the highlight, but that's okay. against an eco, shot 2 dudes in the back, blind spammed a guy through a smoke who was already shooting him. Like, no offense to the lad. It's not a highlight I'm putting in my frag movie.
When was the last time you saw JW have a round like that? When was the last time JW had a round like that?
Never, because he's not a rifler. Like, generally, he just doesn't rifle. Like,
what?
When was the last time I was impressed with something JW did? Oh, we can go back almost at least half a decade, probably more. But that's
how low the bar is. That doesn't impress
me either.
I'm not lowering the bar. This is where it is, and they're clearing it. This is so good for them. This is so good. So I'm starting to like this Eyeballer's team a lot. I'm starting to like the players a lot. I like this result. All 4 games they play, even if they do lose 2 of them, I very much like it. And it has big implications for the VRS as well. They've had trouble. They've had to play these unranked events to sort of get the reps in. This is a ranked event, and that's a big win for them. So kudos to the Ballers.
Yeah, they got a win. That's shocking to me, to be honest. The fact that they then lost. Look, Mirage. They took Mirage off Fnatic, and then they took a nuke off of 9. You can take those, a little feather in your cap on top of it at LAN. But overall, yeah, not the story of this event for me in the end. For me, the team that actually had a better run than I expected, and that I think should take something really positive from this, that isn't Monty, because yeah, I don't think that's a replicable Monty run. They just played way too well. Like, I've seen this team play a lot. They just hit way more shots than they usually do. Like, it was crazy. It was a lot of fragging. But for me, Ents are slowly proving that the rig-on move wasn't absolutely insane. If you see what I mean, like, when we saw it announced, like, you're cutting glaive, you're bringing in Ents, rig-on to Ents, and you're telling SDY to call, it's like, Jesus, you're desperate, right? It just feels like, like, unnecessary. But it really worked. So they lose to Fnatic in that series. They go down to the lower bracket. They're able to upset NIP. I don't care if NIP lost to Eyeball, it's still an upset. They take care of Gentlemates rather comfortably. Now, Gentlemates, the team that are underpowered at this event. You don't realize it on LAN, and then they come here and Davy G plays like Davy G. Not like whoever the fuck is actually controlling the mouse and keyboard when he's online. And you realize, oh wow, yeah, the rifle core is a solid Soul. Davy G, a guy in a mobility chair, like, or with one of those walkers in Mopos, trying to carry the fucking entry load. And then Alex calling and fragging. Well, calling, he can do a decent job. Fragging, he certainly does not. So, Ents needed to win that game. They did it easily. Beat 9, who were a real upset team at this event. Like, there was a lot of potential for 9 to upset you. Like, they have always had that sort of edge to them since signing Fuzi. But also with Sejot, these guys can just pop off and upset you. Took care of business there again. This is an Ents who just rolled some rosters that they shouldn't have been so comfortable against. Teams who could have upset them. They looked really good. They looked really comfortable. Mulzi played well. Nechu played well. Pody played well. Rigon played well. Lovely little event for Ents. They should take some ranking off this. A little bit of positive ranking. Yeah, 11 spots they took off this event. And yeah, kick on. But yeah, proving to us that it was worth trying, at least, this rig-on change.
And also probably proving, at least to me, that Mulzi has been a good move. He really stand-up performance here. He's been kind of here and there at the start for this Ents team, especially since rig-on came in, but he's a 123 at this event in 14 maps. That's really solid. He's always been really talented. Like, I've seen, this is also like an eye testing, but I've seen really good rounds out of Mulzi on the academy.
He was the best rifler on that academy for a while, though. Like, academy had terrible rifling, and he was the best one.
It wasn't a 130 player, but like, you could see rounds occasionally where it's like, the fact you even go for that and you manage to get a 3K out of that round, it's like, that's something which nobody else on this team has. Many other teams you're facing, nobody has that, and that's really good. So, yeah, solid for them. But yeah. Great little LAN. Pretty cool. Fnatic ended up taking the win over Monty in the grand final. Monty's juice finally running out. I mean, they needed all 24 and then 35 rounds to beat Ents in 2. Like, that was a hell of a series for them to come out the consolidation final. And yeah, just didn't have the legs, really, to keep it up. So they were fragging out of their mind up until then. Like, just performances from these players that we just don't see. Like, Bimas,
BMAS is putting up like a 1.4 rating to that point, like stupid ratings. Yeah, finally, it fell off a bit in the final. Fnatic took care of business, and yeah, netted themselves a decent little LAN win. Not exactly a big prize pool, not a prestigious trophy, but something to hold on to, something to cherish for now. Anyway, your small site. Something about the majors.
Semi-related. This LAN obviously has some VRS implications, and we've had God's work done by Mischief in the past couple of weeks, where he straight up simulated 40 million games to try to figure out who is probably going to make the major. So he's looked at every event. He's looked at what events might happen, what the matchups might happen, and he hasn't gone super deep into it, but he's basically gone like, well, rough rankings and say like, what's the upset percentage for this team, and he's given here and there, and that has basically led to finding out what, like, pretty much empirically, what chances do different teams have of making the major. So I can tell you, this was before DracuLAN. I don't think anything has massively changed here, other than the Fnatic has probably moved up a little bit. I don't think they moved up enough to get into the major range, and NIP might have dropped back a little bit as well, as might have Gentlemates. But the most interesting one is Europe, obviously. I can tell you, locked in for sure are Spirit, Vitality, Mouse, Falcons, Aurora, Navi, and probably, like, with almost certainty, Astralis, FaZe, and 3D Max. Heroic are looking really solid to make the major. G2 as well. GamerLosion are probably there. NIP were looking really good before DracuLAN, but this is the worst possible scenario for them in terms of what could have happened at DracuLAN, and they lost like these 2 games. They probably lost out big time here, to be honest. And I think they might have one more LAN to try to make it in. But it's looking a little bit grim, I think. It's definitely looking a little bit grim. Yeah, they have Star Ladder. So again, they're the second highest ranked team there. A lot of stuff could happen. But if they don't make playoffs, then I mean, if they don't make top 4, I would say, it's looking grim for NIP making the major. Liquid are on the cusp. Virtus Pro, OG, Gentlemates are on the cusp as well. Liquid have a chance on the EU ranking, depending on how Fisher goes. Bait are actually like within touching distance, so if they have a good star ladder, something could happen there. It's looking very unlikely that Perivision, Fnatic, Ecstatic, these kind of teams ends big, probably out of the major running. When you're looking down at a team like Nine, who are playing both DracuLAN and are going to play in Star Ladder, they have a 0.26% chance out of the 40 million matches simulated, 150,000 simulations. It's not looking great. So yeah, that's sort of, if you're wondering what the major standings are looking like, that's sort of where we are. Saw actually have a pretty good chance at the moment, but it's looking more and more grim, and they, I don't think, are going to do that hot in the next couple of events that they have, whatever that might be. They actually have none. Yeah, they're just living off of decay at the moment. So
yeah,
I don't think there's any way they make it in.
They had that burst, so they always do. And they, honestly, the last time we saw them play was Challenger League Cup, where they went out to the Glex. The Glex. Let me just tell you who's on the Glex. Crikey, Tripex 17, Jackassed, Nita, and Hodix. They're a Ukrainian mix I've never heard of. So Saw,
yeah,
they also no longer exist under the name the Glex. Saw are not exactly in a great spot right now, despite the fact that, you know, Fisher Playground top 4, Omen Roman Imperial Cup second, should have won that, but Iberian Soul are good, and CCT Series 4, third to fourth, with some decent wins. Like, they've not been a bad team. It's just, it never makes sense how they do it. It's Muterus drawing water from stone with the rosters he has, and then ... they finish top 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, step 1, have Muterus. Step 2, have Story. Step 3, question mark. Step 4, Profit. Like, it just kind of works like that every time.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising if they do fall off. Like, you know, they lose a few matchups on firepower, fall out the ranking, don't quite hold on to it. But yeah, it wouldn't be surprising that they make the major and end up top 8. You know, it's Muterus. Fuck him. He's going to do it. So no, Saw disappointing. But yeah, I think, honestly, all that was going through my head when you said Europe, as usual, the most interesting, was just some of the reels that I get suggested, just like certified European moment, just just fucking montage European culture. That's all that came into my head. Not gonna lie, but yeah, it's a fascinating look into who can make what and the emphasized importance of these small lands, of these little events where you can really make a big swing in your VRS. It's just highlighted by this. Like winning those matches, those events, just performing well. Doesn't have to be even like a top 2 finish. As long as you get big wins there, you're going to fly up the rankings. And we saw that again at DracuLAN with the best performing teams in terms of VRS change taking 25 ranking spots for Eyeballers, 36 spots for Mana, and they didn't even do a damn thing, really. Ents got 11, Monty got 26. Like, all these big shifts is why these little lands matter so much right now. And I hope that we continue to see them popping up, is essentially my my hope.
Yeah. I'll tell you, another estimate here is from Udknud Jesper Larsen. He tweets basically nothing but gigantic articles on X, on Twitter, about VRS. And he's made a more subjective assessment here. He's basically looked at the teams that are inside the major range right now. What do they have to do to go out of it? This was a week ago, so Blast might have changed some things here. FaZe have basically locked in. They basically needed to not make Blast Open playoffs to miss the major, so they're pretty much safe. G2 could lock themselves in by making the Blast playoff today. But they need to go 0-3 at both Fisher and EPL, and I don't think that's going to happen. GamerLosion, same thing. They did miss the Blast playoff. They could drop out, but they did miss that. But they also need to go 0-6 at Fisher and EPL, so I don't think that's going to happen. It's similar for VP. They genuinely could go 0-6 at both Fisher and EPL, and they did miss the Blast playoff, so they could actually drop out here. But yeah, then there's a separate category with 5 teams who have opportunities to achieve stuff to make it into the major, and that's NAP, Liquid, Bait, Iberian Soul, and OG. They're playing Star Series, they play Fisher, they're playing some other events, some Philadelphia events as well. So they could make it in. And then if you are a fan of Paravision, BetBoom, Saw, 9, Ecstatic, or Fnatic, you're probably not making it. Like, you're gonna need to win Star Series or something similar to make, or stuff like that. So unfortunately, those teams are probably more or less out. So that's how the chances are looking right now. There is an American assessment as well. It's less interesting. The way it's looking, Odic are the only team that aren't in the major range, which have a reasonable shot at it.
So who is making the major from NA then, based on that? Just out of curiosity.
Furia, Pain, Legacy. I'm just going through the Americas as a whole. Furia, Pain, Legacy are pretty much locked in. Imperial, Passion, UA are also pretty much locked in. MABR have a good shot. M80 have a really good shot as well. Fluxo, probably close. NRG, 9Z, and Odic are pretty close. Like, there is a chance Odic and 9Z overtake NRG and push them out of it. But it's between those 11 to take the 10 spots. Like, Bestia, Sharks, and Wildcard are basically out of it. They have 20% or less. And then the rest, like Blue Jays, Marsborn, getting info, those kind of teams, I think they pretty much have to win whatever frag events are left. I think there's 2 more frag events left before the major invite. That's like, yeah. And then like all of the other teams beyond that on the Americas ranking combined have a sub 1% chance of making it. So yeah, it's that's how the simulation is looking. So yeah, we run the risk of having Passion UA, M80. There is a risk Passion UA and M80 are the only NA representatives at the Budapest major. And there's, according to Mischief a couple of days ago, there's a 37% chance less than 3 NA teams qualify. So that would be M80 Passion UA. That's a 37% chance that happens.
Do you know what that means, though?
What?
Once again, the Germans saving the United States. Like NASA before. M80 have
Jesus.
German scientists. Anyway.
Somebody should tell Bestie about that. No. Overly political.
It's just banter, lads. It's just banter. Just banter. We timed that joke right as FaZe Vitality Map 2 starts, so took a little dip in viewership.
Coincidentally. Yeah, that's what the major is looking right now. And I think it's pretty interesting. DracuLAN had some small implications on that, probably slightly improving Fnatic's chances from like 2% to 4%, but it's gone. Game's gone. So yeah. Game's gone. Do you think Sean Deitch would be a Fnatic fan?
No. Certainly not. Signing all them bloody Swedes. Anyway, let's get into the best segment on the show. The segment everyone's waiting for. The only segment with an actual intro. This isn't just me talking about it. It is time for Cock of the Week.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, this week's cock is somebody I've been... It's not even somebody. I think... Actually, yeah, it might be somebody. It might be just one person who runs this account at this point. CS2 News, the biggest source of misinformation at this point, to be honest. The new Harumi, the way this account is moving. So I actually... For a while, I actually kind of liked CS2 News. I thought it was a cool page. It's basically... It is just a page where it's like you're posting stuff for... Like, you're posting news, interesting stuff for engagement, trying to sell that to sponsors. And they do get some sponsors. I think they have, like, a betting sponsor who shows up occasionally in some of their graphics. But their old editor, whoever was running the account before, was... his name is Alex. He's a really cool guy. He's from Uzbekistan, I think. And he was running it very well. He had pretty high standards. But he left. He's no longer there. There's somebody else who does it now. They're doing it very poorly. So half the stuff they post is just outright made up or very much taken out of context. So I'm just going to read off a couple of these, a couple of the latest ones. So from top to bottom. Sun Pius is finally back, and it's a screenshot of his stats page. It's a 160 rating out of the FlyQuest series. Is he back? Is he really back? Here is another one. Good news. This one. Okay. This was a weak one when I tried to, you know, meme on this.
This was a weak dunk. It was a weak dunk. Yeah.
It's a weak dunk, but it is still fucking bullshit. Because good news for Navi fans, their next tournament has only 8 teams, so they won't be able to continue their 9-12 losing streak. And I was like, what the fuck is a 9-12 losing streak? And I looked at it. Well, this team made top 4 at Cologne, and since then they've gone 9-16, 9-16, and now they went 9-12. Like, it's not a streak. It's stupid. And it's just really dumb. I didn't like that. Let's see. 6 years ago, this was from Bob Bobinski. It's a half, like, this is more like 6 years ago was the most recent victory for Astralis over an EU team at a major. That's true. Astralis just haven't qualified for a lot of, like, I think they played one major aside, like, since the Berlin major. I think they played a single one. So it's not that deep. Then there's a bunch of other, I pointed out before, last week I mentioned how they basically just said fake stuff about how Falcons fans were shining lasers into Jota's eyes. That was just outright made up. It just doesn't make any sense. They do this really funny one about Kickert and Norbert, how they are reuniting with Mo on Hotu. Kickert and Mo, they played 5 maps together when Mo stood in for Avangard in 2019, so it's one hell of a reunion. And also, they just mentioned they're set to join Hotu, the team that used to play with Gokushima, who was banned from match fixing. Which I think is like, why would you mention that? Hotu played a PGL event. They played a tier 1 PGL event, and they're gonna play ESL Pro League. Like, they've done really solid recently. Why are you promoting the fact that do you think that's the most famous thing, that Gokushima played there? And it's just, this one I didn't really get. Everything dies in Virtus Pro. 64 days. That's how much time Electronic and Perfecto played together. The duo came to life in 2020 in Navi, and they managed to get to Cloud9. It ended in Virtus Pro. 64 days what? Is that like the total time they've spent in officials? Like across those 3 teams? Is it the amount of time Perfecto and Electronic were a duo on Virtus Pro? Is it like, is it just nothing? Because like, what does this mean? It doesn't mean anything. And
do you know what's funny about that one? This is what I love. The duo played in Navi, then separately at a later date played in Cloud9, then again separately played again together in VP. So technically it ended all those times.
Yeah.
Why is this now the end of the duo?
Yeah. This one I thought was really stupid. They posted the best and worst rated players out of the fall season so far, but they posted it right in the middle of Blast Open. Like right in the middle of it. They included those stats as well. So it's Cologne, Bounty, EWC, and Blast Open, like halfway done through the group stage. And they've written, Zybu doesn't even make it to the top 5 players according to the results of the first tier 1 tournaments of the second season. A young talent PR ended up in the top and kicked Elish. Like, there's a translation thing. I'm making fun of somebody who's not capable of speaking English, but it is like,
Yeah.
it is. That's what we do quite often on Cock of the Week. To be honest, we mock people's inferior ability to speak English. But the graphic doesn't make sense. Why would you post it now? Obviously, the rest of the group stage of Blast Open are gonna change these ratings because it's very matchup dependent when you've have only 1 or 2 group stage games played here. And like, it makes no sense. It feels like they just have an idea and they post it, and it's like, oh, we thought about this. It doesn't make any sense.
So much of this, I'm
like,
sorry, I'm going through this, and this is why I fucking hate these accounts. I also fucking hate every dork who interacts with these accounts. I'm sorry. Why is half their posts just other people's shit, just repackaged with a graphic?
That's
Like,
what they do.
they've taken other people's interviews and taken quotes out of it and made a graphic. They've taken someone else's video and made it into a graphic. They've taken a bunch of stuff, like random stats every now and then, and made it into a story. This is not what... Why does anyone follow this account? It's just other people's shit reused.
Yeah, it's what they do.
It's crap.
And you'll also notice they use HLTV pictures all the time. And when I worked at Dust 2, I remember there was a debacle about this, about how they're obviously not allowed to do that. HLTV are strict about their image rights, but they just kept doing it. I don't know if that was resolved. I don't know if there's anything about that, but it's they shouldn't do that. Don't use HLTV pictures, kids. You might get a letter in the mail. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's very stupid. There was also the quote about Messinho posting about, like, he said something in the game chat about how they can't afford bootcamp pieces in ahead of whatever event they're playing next. He said that in like an in-game chat as a joke, and they posted that and it was like, oh, Mongols haven't been paid from Esports World Cup. And it's like, he had to reply to the tweet, like, as rarely as Messinho goes on Twitter, he had to reply and say this was just a joke. Like, yes, we can't buy, like, yes, we're not boot camping, but like, we're joking. This is a joke. Weird, super weird. And it's all misleading. It's all misunderstood. It's all, yeah, I've been misquoted by them as well, based on stuff I said on the show.
I'm just looking up, I remember they have a Twitter, they have a YouTube account. And what's shocking me is that they are just spamming every clickbait thing they can combined just into these videos. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I've accidentally watched like 30 seconds of one before realizing it was pure arse. It's like AI narrated? Or am I going crazy? Hang on. Stream might be able to hear this. I'm going to listen.
Well, this would be fun.
Oh no, it's just narrated by some guy with a really thick accent super slowly. Because how do they get these things to 11 minutes is my question. And that's how. Guy talking really slowly about things that are very obvious. Could this be? I have no further information, so I'm going to keep talking and repeating the same thing you know. I have nothing to offer you but all caps, so you will click. It's like, oh my god, kill me.
Why does Zontic leave Spirit? Liquid refused to sell twists to face. Simple could play with them in the thumbnail. And then they posted a screenshot of Striker's Twitter where it says, I know why Zontic leave Spirit! Exclamation point.
It's just not, they do nothing. Their work is other people's work. They are basically ChatGPT, but slow. They're just data scrapers with a really shit thesaurus.
This is stupid. This is really stupid.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they're really dumb. Also, I think the funniest thing was that they... Yeah, okay. I think the really funniest thing was what happened earlier this week, which, you know, I kind of popped off on this, which I like this. They posted a reply to like some. I think it's a woman who works in Dota. I think she works for Aurora. She posted like selfies on Twitter, and they replied "kissy kissy meow meow," like in Russian. And I was like, holy shit, dude, you cannot do this on a work account. Like, you just can't do this on a fucking work account. Turns out it's a Dota meme. Like, it was less creepy than it looked. But it looks really fucking dumb. Like it looks super creepy out of context. And yeah, I pointed it out, and they removed it. Which also, I think it's also kind of funny that they go back on it as well. They're like, "Oh, we can't post this. This looks too creepy." Jesus. Yeah, no. It's a goofy account.
It's just annoying
yeah.
me. Like, so many people interact with this stuff, and I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
Why?
And it's like I don't know if Alex left or if he was let go, or Axel. He might be Axel. I always struggle with Alex and Axel names. I don't know if it's. We have an Axel in chat. I can if I can avoid using the name Axel or Alex, I just do, because I always mix them up and it's always embarrassing. I don't know if he left or if he was fired, but they're also kind of living off of the reputation he built, because when he was there 2 months ago and running the Twitter account, because I don't think he did the YouTube stuff or the Telegram stuff. I think he did just Twitter. It was really good. Like, it was genuinely pretty good. And like, he would make mistakes. He's just a guy. He's not under the same journalistic scrutiny as like a news site. But most of the stuff they posted was at the very least
despite having
correctly
news
attributed.
in the fucking title.
Yeah, but like most of the stuff they posted was correctly attributed. It turned out to be like relatively true. Like most of the stuff they posted was accurate. And maybe most important of all, it was actually coherent. Like, if he actually possesses an ability to, because a lot of the meanings of these things change because of the way it's worded, and that's a language issue. And it might seem unimportant. Like, it might seem like, oh, like, why would you, go crack down on him because he doesn't speak English? Well, it's like, because in this case it does genuinely sometimes change the meaning of what you're saying, the way you translate this. That's what happens with the Falcons laser thing. It's Aurora's CEO said that, like, oh, he spoke to the admin and said, like, oh, can I just go shine a laser in Nico's eyes, like as a thing to say, like, you need to remove these lights from the crowd. And people misconstrued that as that's what Falcons were doing in the first place, because of the way that they translated that and they wrote it from Russian to English, which was not at all what happened. Like, it was genuinely just like a regular lamp, like maybe like a cell phone light. Very stupid. So yeah, yeah. I hope they improve or go away.
Yeah, we hope so. All right, the Retake Games now becoming a staple. There'll only be one game today, but Quack, it's going to be yours. What have you got for me this time?
I've got another Counter-Strike tension, and this is tricky. I think genuinely you might be one of the people in the world best placed to answer this, but I still think you are going to struggle. And because this is quite difficult, I'm not going to give you as much limited time. I'm gonna tell you what it is, and you'll get to think about it for a second. But right. So what I have for you is that, obviously, at the start of CS:GO, players transitioned from the past Counter-Strike games into Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And weirdly enough, because we had two Counter-Strike titles running in parallel there with 1.6 and Source, both players from both titles went to CS:GO.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking here is, the top 10, you are going to try to pinpoint number 10 while avoiding 11 to 13. Is Source players to win a major in CS:GO or CS2.
How is it top 10?
So the ranking I've done is based on when they won their first major, and as a tiebreaker, how many majors they won and when they played their last major. So like, I'll give you just as an example. I'll give you one which you probably weren't going to guess, but the last person on the list, the 17th person, is Automatic. He played like one Source event as a 15-year-old, but he was listed as a Source player on Liquipedia, so I included him. He won his major in 2018. He only won one major, and he last played a major in 2022. So he ends up bottom of the list because he was the latest major. So that's also a hint. Like, there's nobody who won their first major after 2018 who played in Source.
No, I figured that.
But yeah, so that's the category. And I'm just gonna whip up my timer, and you are gonna have 90 seconds still, but this time you got a little bit more time to do this. So this is difficult, but you might be able to make an educated guess. So.
Oh God. I need to hide chat so I don't get any ideas.
There we go. And there's your 90 seconds.
Okay, so the first majors are won by Fnatic, then the Frogs, then MVP. Well, there's no one on there, but then NIP, Then Fnatic. Envy. In 2016, these ones I always get wrong. Those are the Brazilians. LG, SK. What's the third major 2016? There's only 2 in 2016, right?
It's only 2. That's when they swapped to 2 majors.
That's when it swaps to being shit. Well, actually, to be fair, I think 2 majors is better if there's 2 seasons. Now that I reflect. Then 2017 is obviously AS and GAM.
You have 35 more seconds, so you might want to start.
So let's get some freebies in there. Exist, Freiburg, Shox, and MBK. Otherwise, closer to the end, around the time of LGSK, Fallen played 1.6. Fur didn't. Did he? I don't remember him from any teams in 1.6. Give me Fur. I remember Fallen as a 1.6 player. I might be wrong on that. And then
time is about to run out, but I'll give me Glaive.
Glaive. Yeah, that's
I'll
what
give you that as the last name. Right, so you have named Exist, Freiburg, Shox, NBK, Fur, and Glaive.
I think Glaive played with some Source. I think Glaive played some Source. I'm also sure he played... The problem is Denmark was both, but had a really big scene in both, and I think some players may have gone across, so yeah, that's my best guess. Device might have been actually one of them. Right. I don't know.
I'll rattle off the list. So the way I did this was in a couple of... First of all, I went through all the major champions on Liquipedia and said if it said former Source player, because you get that on a couple of... That's how Automatic snuck in, because he said former semi-professional Source player, and I was like, okay. Then I looked it up. He was 15 and he played an ESEA event, but they apparently count that. I did also go through. There are actually a couple who weren't listed as Source players. They didn't have any Source teams, but they played S-tier Source events, which were quite few. There's only 4 on Liquipedia. But it's like they played ESWC in 2011, and then they won a major in CSGO. I feel like if you're playing at ESWC in Source in 2011, I feel like you played Source professionally.
Right.
So I'll just quickly put... You're correct that most of these are Source players. Fur was an educated guess. He didn't actually play a lot of 1.6. He played just a handful of events and then started.
Yeah, no wonder I
early
didn't
in
remember
CSGO.
anything. That's why. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he didn't play Source either, is the thing.
Was there was there a Brazilian, though, that I missed?
There was. We'll get to that. So I'm just going to check now. Because you also said Exist. He didn't play a single Source event.
Oh, I must be confusing him with...
Yes.
You
got the wrong NIP guy.
Fifth. Yeah, that's the one. The one I always forget.
Right, so the list top...
Yeah.
Yeah, the list top to bottom. You said there were no polls. I've actually included Neo and TAS because they did play in that ESWC. In weirdly enough, in 2011 they played ESW. Okay. They played Source at ESWC in 2011. I think they would have also played in 1.6, right? They would have played both.
They played 1.6 for their entire careers. Won 6 majors in 1.6. They are 1.6 players, but okay. Okay.
Very weird how at the same hang on. At the same ESWC they played and finished top 4 in 1.6, and then they went and also played the Source event like the day after, but without Pasha, Neo, and TAS. Oh, sorry, no, I've got the wrong event. No, they didn't play ESWC. They played a different S-tier event. They dabbled in it, is the point. They dabbled in Source a little bit. They actually even played a Condition 0 event at one point, Neo did. So that's something for the history books. In 2005, they played a Source event. And I think they might have even finished really highly. Taz and Neo are the top 2 anyway. Freiburg is correct. He is a Source player. That's your 3 points for you. Fifth Lauren is the one you forgot. Those were the 2 Source players they put together.
Yeah. I always get that wrong. I make that mistake in my head all the time.
You have 5 points because NBK is number 5. Correct. Shox is number 7 on the list. So you have 7 points. And in between there, you also missed Happy. He would have been number 6. Smiths, Shox's boyfriend, also would have been there.
Of course, yeah.
Spot number 8. Apex, the only one out of this entire list who won a major after 2019 is Apex, obviously. And then Kenny S would have been number 10. Okay,
so because I mentioned, where's Glaive in this then?
You mentioned Fallen, but you didn't say him. You mentioned him, but you didn't put him in as a guest. Fallen did play Source.
I didn't think he played. I remember him from select 1.6 stuff. I couldn't remember if he actually was one or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't sure on him.
Fallen is number 11. so good job avoiding him. FNX is number 12. Also dabbled in Source, but he was obviously for that I feel like he was just around for fuck ton of time, where it's like it made sense that he would dabble in it. Yeah, Fallen's listed for like a dozen Source events, so that does make sense. And Glaive is unfortunately number 13, and that means you have negative 3 points there. So that's Shocks. That's a 7 from Shocks, minus 3 for Glaive. Because Glaive did play Source, he played with Hunden at that ESWC. He did actually play at that ESWC.
Well, I mean, he also just played a lot of Source. Like, he's listed on several Source teams. Like,
yeah, he is an ex-Source player in general, but he did play on Reason with. He did play on Reason with Hunden, which I feel like might be the one.
That's probably where I recognized him from. Yeah, because I probably went through because I did a video a long time ago that no one watched about the Danish coaching tree / IGL tree. And how it, stems all the way back from probably like Hunden, guys like that. And you can connect the dots between Glaive, Snappy, Hooksy. Basically any IGL that's Danish and is over the age of 25 has played at some point, probably with Hunden, Fetish, or Carrigan. And even then, Carrigan, probably not even when Carrigan was an IGL. Like, probably when Carrigan was just a player. So, no, there is a great deal of interconnective tissue between those guys. I feel like I've been absolutely molested to get a -3 when Taz and Neo are being counted as Source players. Are we taking the literal piss? They played two Source events in a decade of Counter-Strike 1.6. And
you would have had a -3 anyway because Glaive would have been 11th. You would have had a -3 anyway if you cut away the 2 polls, and you would have gotten less points for Shocks. I don't feel like you've been shafted. You've been promoted. You could have had
shafted.
You could have had 2 points.
-3 for a guy.
Be happy with your 4.
I've been shafted, but it's fine. This is a sort of thing that will lead me throwing a brick at your head later in life. Like, this is a terrible, terrible decision to include those guys as Source players. Like, this is the kind of thing that gets journalists burnt. I'm sorry. Like, if you call that guy a Source player, you call a guy who said, "Oh, nice dress," to a 16-year-old a nonce. Like, that is the same tier of bullshit reporting you have gone with there.
Look,
and it's not a Source player.
They played in 2005. One of the only 4 S-tier Source events. The rest of the list that wouldn't have counted here is number 14. Device did play, but he got ranked lower than Glaive because he actually played his last major in 2021, lo and behold, and Glaive played his last in 2024. Zeus and Adren ended up even on 15 because they played their last major in 2019, and they also won after Glaive and Device, the first major. And then Automatic, obviously, who in hindsight he's bullshit, so I'm happy.
He showed up to a LAN when he's 15. Like, how far back is that?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. He genuinely was like, I looked at him and it's like he's 28 now. There's absolutely no way he played Source, but yeah, he did. But then again, like, Glaive would have been. I mean,
he probably
17
played a lot of Source at the time, but it's like to know him as a Source player would be ridiculous.
I mean, take it up with Wikipedia because they list him as a former semi-professional Counter-Strike Source player.
That might have been true. It might have been more true than we realize. At the same time, just the only event he ever attends is apparently ECA Season 11. Like,
I'm gonna call out who added that edit because Wikipedia, you can see the edit history. No, okay, never mind. No, yeah, there you
go. Okay, yeah, so, no, I mean, Source is hard to remember, like who played it, who didn't, with some scenes. Like that's why the Danes are a bit, I had to be like, I think he was a Source player, but there was just so much spread. And then, the Brazilians, I'm always unsure because, like, I've never looked into Fallen's career that extensively, but I did look into what's his name? The guy who basically is Fallen before Fallen, Kogu. Kogu's career a fair bit, and there is some like overlap with Kogu and Fallen at some point in terms of being competitors in the Brazilian scene in 1.6. But I was like, I feel like Fallen would come up more if he was in 1.6 more than Source, so I thought probably he's a Source player, but I just wasn't 100%. Maybe he was just bad, and that's why he never came up again. So yeah, that's why I was really 100% on him.
Yeah, it was one of the trickier games we've had, but I also felt like since the Frenchies were the guys who were here in the 5 to 10 range, and I know you know this sort of stuff. I think you've talked before about how they played in Source, like
they were like the best team in Source. Like they were fantastic in Source.
Pretty much.
Yeah, if you look up Shock's highlights from Source, dude, go watch them. They make no sense. They make no sense. He's so good.
Yeah. Then you actually have some guys like Happy never played an S tier event. That's the thing, like Happy never played an S tier source event, but
Yeah, there's
and
not
Taz
that
did.
many S tier source events. That's the
There is
problem.
only 4. I looked it up. There's only 4 S tier source events. So
Despite
that's why I
source
did feel
running
like
for quite a
okay.
long time, and despite having some really big deal events, some of them are just not ranked S tier because Liquipedia's got some arbitrary thing that means it's not. It's not actually reflective of how important the events always were.
There was one in 2011, which was the ESWC, none in 10, none in 09, one in 08, one in 07, none in 06, and then one in 05. And that 05 was the one where, yeah, they played Neo and Taz and did quite well.
But yeah, no, very games.
Yeah.
God tier team at the time.
Yeah. I also had Zeus attending in the same S tier event as Neo and Taz. That's why he was on the list, because he also wasn't technically a source player. But yeah. Tricky game. Next week we'll do something lighter.
That's fine. I'm still
yeah,
I'm looking through some of these
congratulations.
events. There's so many British players in Source.
Yeah.
Oh, the glory days of UKCS was actually just Source, and that's so disappointing.
Glory days of UKCS is Henry G in Source. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, yeah, it's
In terms
barely an
of
understatement.
UK players playing in UK-led teams and UK teams with UK majorities, that's basically the last time it really happened. At least as far as rosters that won anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's cool to see which teams carry on, because you have like the CGS 2008 World Championship. Sponge is here, playing with Top Gun. Mo is here. Fifth Lauren as well, obviously. And the old Zertian is also here. The Dutch Zertian. Pretty cool. Mexico City Furia?
What?
Mexico City Furia was a Brazilian franchise of Championship Gaming Series.
Oh, CGS,
Oh!
yeah, CGS, yeah, that was a whole thing, yeah.
Oh, it's a franchise thing. I didn't even realize. All right. That's
Yeah,
cool.
you'll notice someone's missing from that.
A Brazilian?
No, in
what?
terms of
Or from the
CGS,
event?
a lot of very important French players, I think, just you don't see them like pop up. It's weird.
Yes. They weren't even in the European finals.
You know, the World Championship, you're looking through some of these teams, you're like, who the fuck are these people? And yeah, no real French teams involved in it. It's a weird concept that, you know, it's an S tier event, the CGS World Championship 2008, but Birmingham Salvo with Rattlesnake ends up winning. You're like, how the fuck are they even here if the best teams in the world probably are the French teams? Or would be afterwards. It's because they just weren't involved. It's such a strange piece of history.
You see, kids, back in my day before VRS, we could invite whoever the fuck we wanted.
Okay. Such a weird format as well if you look at the games. Like Birmingham Salvo beat Berlin Alliance 22-21. The fuck does that mean?
The
fuck
French
does that
team
mean?
could be the best in the world, but if you were racist, you could just not fucking invite them.
Okay. Let's not go for characters as being your thing.
No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, no.
Should not be you. But let's get into the
Should not
Eternal
be me.
Shuffle. Let's get back into more normal things. We do have some moves. Some are rumored, some are confirmed. Some I was surprised were actually confirmed. I was like, oh, that's okay, sure, why not? Quite, yeah.
Yep.
What's going on? What moves have happened?
This was confirmed just before we went live. Astralis Stown is taking a break for the rest of the season, and Magisk is coming in. To me, it reads as a temporary thing, but they have just said that he's coming back, and like stepping away for personal reasons could just mean you're leaving as well. We all remember NIP device. So, yeah. So the lineup for Astralis right now and for the rest of the season is going to be Device, Stair, Yabi, Hooksy, and Magisk.
Yeah. Their hand has been forced, it seems. This is not a move they just willingly made on surface level. So I just have to say, like, as far as how you did replacing the player who left, you didn't pay for anyone, and you've ended up with a player who can hold a mouse. So fine, but in terms of how good Astralis is going to be with Magisk, they're going to be pretty awful. This is not going to be the solution to their problems. Certainly not. So, yeah. Not great. Not a great look for Astralis, I don't think.
No, it's weird. Like I do find it kind of funny how Stown and Cadian are reunited once again on the bench. But yeah, you could, like, when the report initially came out, there was nothing in mentioning why Stown would be exiting, and it did just kind of make sense that you would cut Stown. Like, I don't think it's nonsensical that you would cut Stown. For Magisk, maybe, but we also know they don't have any money, and Magisk was coming on a free. Also, there were ways that I could make sense of this in my head. But yeah, if Stown just wants to take a break, then yeah, fine, I guess.
If he wants to take a break, then yeah, I get why he's being cut. But overall, he's not been that bad that I'm just like, you have to cut Stown. Like, that's just not been my takeaway. Like, if he's taking a break, then he's taking a break. But his play's not been that disappointing.
You don't have to cut him, but you could. Like, there's no, if they were unhappy with him for whatever reason, if Hooksy didn't want to play with him or whatever, if something wasn't working out there, then yeah, I could see why that was the case. I didn't hate that, like, on the face of it. So for that, yeah. But then of course the Magisk of it all is tricky. I thought initially it was just that, you know, first of all, they want to stay Danish first and foremost, but even if they wanted to go international, they can't buy anybody. Like, they can't do anything. We know they kind of have some money troubles, and we know that was why it was difficult to secure Hooksy in the first place. So, and then the report said that Magisk, his contract was ending in just a matter of days. So fine. Like, I was fine with that. So yeah, it's weird. Is there a grade for this?
I have to be generous because the players decided to leave. Totally. There's nothing else to this. So okay. Oh no, maybe give them a B. The fact they have no money probably is able to enable some generosity as well. If you have no money anyway, what the fuck else are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like that was sort of the thing where it's like, okay, so you have an opportunity to stay Danish with a player you know who's also coming on a free. I'd take that rather than, you know, doing anything else. Also confirmed, hours after bombing out of Blast Open after losing to M80, Virtus.pro have cut their in-game leader and star signing, honestly, a couple of months ago. Electronic.
Yeah, it's time for the big, hallelujah. Like big. What's that song that everyone uses when they're relieved in all the memes? It's like, praise the Lord. Like that one.
Oh yeah.
that's what everyone's hearing in their head the moment that gets announced. Like, the generation wept tears of joy they didn't think possible. They never thought they'd see this day.
I didn't see anybody do this meme, but I feel like you could have quote tweeted that with the picture of American soldiers reading newspapers with the headline "Hitler dead." Like, I feel like
saw that done a lot. I don't know what you mean, but I saw that done everywhere.
I thought
it's
I was
on a Maui Snake thumbnail. It's on a Maui Snake thumbnail. That's how unoriginal it is.
I thought it was original. All right.
Yeah, promote Aqua, and I'll give you an A.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah, because that is the other part of it. Who is going to come in? People were saying you probably could get like a Magix in here. You probably could get maybe even a Degster if you wanted to make a double move. You could bring Flammes back. You have Norbert on the bench, etc., etc., etc. There's moves to be made. I don't know if I saw this from like a VP representative or if it was an Overdrive thing or if it was a CS2 news thing, but apparently they're trialing academy players. So yeah, I don't see anybody on VP right now who would be given to be an in-game leader. I absolutely don't think it's perfecto. Flit or Fame, maybe behind the scenes they're really talkative guys, but I just really don't think they would fit as in-game leaders. And I think better just shut up and hope he doesn't get benched next. So it would make sense to bring in Aqua, considering how the academy team have been moving recently.
Yeah, academy team's been banging. Try to make use of it.
Yep. MIBR have cut safe, and they've signed Klim. Speaking of people who could probably have replaced Icy, if we're honest.
Just the most random move I saw. I was just like, I get it if you want to bench safe, maybe you want to change things up, but just randomly signing G2 Academies player who's played in his career like 3 top 50 maps, and none of them are this year. This is so strange. I think he's a decently talented player. I think he does a lot of things quietly well. He's not overly flashy. But at the same time, like, this is such a strange pull for such an unexperienced player. Okay, he's played 4 maps versus top 50 opponents. There you go. I was wrong. 4 maps, not 3. But still basically nothing. And you're asking a lot of a player to be like, hey, come and do what Molodoy did. Like, sure, we're not asking you to do it on quite as high level, but we're still asking you to do it. And we've got no one in the team to make things easy for you. There's no Yekindar. You don't have your translator. So I think it's just a dumb idea from them. And I think it's not going to go very well.
It does feel like trying to do what Big Brother Fury are doing. It does feel like they're trying to do the same thing. I don't know. I like the gamble. I like Safe, like on a base level. I think he's not the best player, obviously, but like I think he's a pretty cool guy. I think he's over his career, he's had moments where he looked pretty solid, etc., etc. He wasn't holding up on MABR right now. I like the gamble on Klim. I like the international move. I'll be entirely honest. I like the fact that there's somebody who maybe takes a weight off of Insani's shoulders in terms of talented carry potential. So, yeah. But it does look unsustainable. It looks super weird. It looks very... You're going international with a team which has been wholeheartedly Portuguese-speaking for forever, literally. What can you really make happen out of that? And I don't know. Klim is great. He comes in. He's only got 71 HLTV maps, though. That's not a lot of tenure. Add to that, he's also replacing Safe, who is very experienced. Like, that has implications for the rest of the team as well. Like, there's definitely stuff Safe was doing which Klim just won't be able to do out of like a team dynamics level as well, which I think could. But they had to do something. Like, they're in such a free fall right now. They are so ass at the moment that like they absolutely had to do something. And I like this. I like this move. Is there a grade?
C.
Yeah, fair. They've also saved Sun Pius's ass for the rest of the year, I guess, if he was gonna keep underperforming. But apparently he's back, you know. Ecstatic have also cut their underperforming Opper, but they have gone the opposite route and they've signed Acor instead, which would have been the equivalent to MABR signing Henny, I guess. KNG, like KNG. It would be KNG. Fluke major final. Yeah, it can make sense. Yeah. Acor's back.
I don't know, man. I'm so done with Danish warping.
This is how I feel like this is how the mid-season Eternal Shuffle always goes on this podcast. We just end up with these fuck off bullshit moves where you just wanna jump off a bridge as you hear them. Like it's not good.
I mean, I made the joke immediately on Twitter. Like, it's just, is this like part of the Danish government's recycling initiative? Like, you just had to do this. Like, legally, you are mandated to reuse an AWPer that has already been tried and tested and has shown us that, unless under very specific guidance and micro handling, is not good enough. Like, if you do set him up exactly the way he needs to be set up perfectly every time, he'll give you a 110 rating. It's like, oh, wow, that's what I have to do to get a 110 out of this cunt. Oh, my God. Kill me. Just kill me. And you're going to go down that well again. Like, this guy couldn't even farm tier 2 the last time we saw him with a team. Like, why are we bothering? I'm just baffled. Yeah. There's Danish youngsters who are playing decent CS in tier 2, tier 3. You could have taken a risk on them. The same way you took a risk on Syra, Newt, the motherfucking penguin. You could have tried something. But no, instead you're going to old reliable 1.05. Damn, if only he was playing the way he played that one time I remember him playing. Acor. No thank you. F.
Yep.
The only team who could cut a 0.78 rated AWPer and get an F. Because they had to go and re-sign Acor.
Oh my god, they cut the worst AWPer in the world, and they still
borderline, yeah, and they still got an F for their replacement. Because what the fuck are you doing?
I'll tell you what Tony wrote. I thought was funny in the roster update when they benched Christu, and he said Christu must be the nicest and most fun teammate to have on your team because him being a 1.0 opper and getting jobs for 5 years has been insane to see. But I think there's an element here of like he's played with Sierra. There's got to be some level of comfort there between Acor and Sierra about like how they've played together in the past. Yada yada yada. There has to be an element of Sierra going, he's good. We should sign him, like vouching for him. Because if
and
anybody
that's when someone
move,
else just goes, shut the fuck up, and we sign a good player.
I mean, if somebody else proposed this move, and the one guy who's played with him on the same team for an extended period of time, he would have said, no, I don't like Acor, then you wouldn't have signed him. So it's strange. I guess the one hope I can have is that Acor, at least as far as I remember him, doesn't bottom out as hard as Christu does. Because Christu, like we said, the worst opera in the world ostensibly, right? Like in the past week, for sure, definitely the worst opera in the world. I don't think you're gonna get 0 firepower events out of Acor.
So Acor's worst events. Let me see. GamerLosion at Brazy Party, 5 maps, 0.79 rated.
As far as I remember him on like mouse.
Oh my god.
But as far as I remember him on like on mouse, it's like he would never go above a 1.05 in a single event, but he also wouldn't go below 0.9. That's the way.
Well, he has a couple below 0.9, but generally he'd at least shoot people overall. You could give him that credit.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be as bad as Christu. Even if I am giving him an F just for doing this to me, he's not going to be as bad as Christu, I don't think. I mean, his best Mouse event I'm trying to find is, it seems to be a close qualifier where he's 1.18. You know, that's his peak. His best actual full event is Flashpoint 3, 1.12 with a 0.66 KPR. Like, bro, that's the peak we're buying here. Oh, it's not great.
Yep.
It's not great at all. So I'm thoroughly underwhelmed. I do not rate this guy that highly. I've had people tell me they love him. Several people tell me how great they think he is and how if he always did XYZ, he would be the best AWPer ever. And that's fascinating. Unfortunately, he's not always playing like that one time you want to quote him playing, so he's just not that good.
Nope. Hotu. They've signed Norbert on a loan. And this is the thing, it's super weird. Virtus Pro confirmed the loan to Hotu. Hotu haven't said shit. And they also haven't officially confirmed who he's going to replace, but Norbert himself, when asked by HLTV, said he's going to replace Kedeo. There was also a rumor, like I mentioned earlier, about Kickert also reuniting with Mo, who is the coach of this team. That hasn't happened. As far as I know, Kickert is free. There shouldn't be any reason why Hotu couldn't just sign him. No, he's benched on Perivision. But that's... Yeah. Let's just rate the Norbert move as it is, because the only other place I've read the Kickert move is CS2 News. So,
yeah.
What do you think?
Honestly, no, I don't want Hotu to be making changes right now. I don't see why they would be. The last time we saw Norbert play, it's with 9boom Pro and Roller Coaster, these kinds of rosters. He's not played horribly. So in that sense, you can't be like overly down on it just from that perspective. But I'm just not feeling it. Like, why would I want Norbert on this team when they've not been playing bad? You know what I mean? Like, they've not played bad enough for me to be like, oh, we have to go to this well. We've seen Norbert play with Egoisto, Roller Coaster, 9boom Pro. Those have been the mixes, essentially, he's played with this year. And, honestly, I'm actually looking, it's been a steady decline from LAN to LAN to now. But it's generally not been awful. So there's not too many reasons to sound the alarm bells. It's just, for me, I don't want him in here. Like, I don't see the point of changing Kadeo out for him. Even if it is the worst player probably on the roster with decent enough roles. Like, decent enough. He's still not the star of the team, but decent enough roles. I just don't see the point. I think that just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. So I'd have kept the team's balance as it was, keep playing around Mizu, Duke Vasura calling a bit around himself, Frontala's on the AWP, has been putting up good numbers. Just keep leaning on what's been working.
Yeah.
At least for now, until it stops working. But yeah, Norbert, not for me.
Somebody who was actually reunited with Mo in this move is Norbert, obviously. They played together on K23 quite a lot around 2020, 21, 22.
Back
so
then, yeah.
You're bringing somebody you know for Mo. He's bringing somebody he knows into the team. He's bringing, let's not forget, a major champion into the team. He's bringing somebody who, quite surprisingly, is still only 24. Like, you're bringing somebody who has unfortunately spent the majority of his statistical peak, most likely, on the bench of Virtus Pro. Thank you for ruining Counter-Strike, Virtus Pro. Like age 22 to 24, he was benched by Virtus Pro. Fuck. He's a solid little player. But like pound for pound, he probably is better than Kideo. Let's be honest about this. So yeah,
maybe.
but it might also be you have a pretty successful team here with Hotu. Do you really need that? And even further, if we're gonna touch on the kicker thing as well, do you really need kicker to come in?
No,
like for
Lord,
who?
no. Why are you making a kicker move? Unless Doofus is like, I'm not calling anymore. Bring someone else in to call, and they bring someone in for let's say Lampada. Yeah, Lampada would maybe be the guy. Like, bring him in for him, maybe. But I don't know. Hot 2 just making changes just because they can, it seems, and I don't really agree with it.
Very weird. Rare Atom, throw out trash.
Haha, funny. A+ next.
Only reason I wanted to mention it. He played. I do think it's funny. He played 4 maps before he was benched.
Yeah, I know.
And now
he
released.
Barely played. He's not really a feature, but here we are.
Yeah. Saw Mist have. Hang on, Juliana. I forgot to add this. Saw Mist. They dropped their roster, which I thought was a shame because they made a pretty big move just ahead of this round of Impact qualifiers with signing D7 and Ada along to fill their Portuguese squad here.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention, I think it's sad. I think it's a bit sad that we
they missed out
this project
on
ends so early.
Impact, didn't they? They didn't make it to Impact.
Yes.
It was Ada and D7, the Portuguese like sort of duo who'd been good in the past, or had been on good teams in the past, but then added some other Iberian players that we didn't really know much about. See if they were good, and it turns out, it didn't really work. They just didn't make it.
No.
So here we are. I mean, I think it makes sense that they've been dropped. They got eliminated by Shinigami, like a very random mix of Russian ladies. Like it's to be expected. Yeah. It's very brutal out there if you don't make the Impact season.
They were 1 game off in the first qualifier, but they lost to the Finnish aka Hero casual squad pretty comfortably. It should be aka Hero. They're a solid little team, so it makes sense. But yeah, I just think it's a bit sad because I thought it was a hype signing. They're picking up good players. The Psalmist project, well, we didn't know about it. They were around for a long time. They just weren't really doing anything. They weren't able to make it to Impact. They weren't really able to beat the better teams. So I thought, okay, they're making a move for D7 and Ada. That's talented players added to a 10-year roster at this point. Maybe there's something you could do there. Maybe there's something cool you could make happen. No. No, there's not much happening there. So they're leaving them. And finally, Zerons are now ex-Zerons. They have obviously lost Astra, who joined Big Equipa. They've also removed Emerald, and they've added Giuliano ahead of the upcoming ESL Impact season, which they are playing.
Yeah, not a crazy move. I would have liked to have seen Zerons stay French, or ex-Zerons at this point. But getting Giuliano in probably won't be a massive downgrade. There's still... Is there any rumor about what's going to happen for the Emerald replacement?
No idea. No, yeah, I don't... Yeah.
So that's not a complete team for now. So we'll see what they end up doing. They're in Impact anyway, just off the core. So hopefully they can still play well, get a lot... I mean, Rachel's been fantastic on this team. Just throughout her tenure, Astra was a big deal, but hopefully they can recover nicely. And Juliano's a good start to that, you know.
Yep, it's fine. This is also there are talented free agent players to pick up there if you wanna. I don't know what she's been doing, if she's been active, but I would quite like to see Nia come in here. I feel like she could fill those emeralds kind of anchor spots quite well. She did well the last time she played Impact, but she's been out for a while. So I don't know. But yeah, that is the Eternal Shuffle. I don't think we've had any other big rumors. Actually, no. Was it last time we talked about Jacob and Elish, or was that this week?
I think I've talked about it a lot. I don't know if we talked about it here, but probably.
Probably we talked about it last week. I think it happened like the Sunday before. So let's talk about that once we've seen them playing on LAN.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the shuffle.
All right. Yeah, let's get into prospects of the week. I'm going to go first, lead this off, wrap this up, lickety split. I've taken Demon. Productive week for him on foot. Now that they've signed Launex, I don't know. You know, I wasn't really too happy with the move at the time when it happened. I just thought it was a bit strange for the roles. Like I don't really see him in those roles. But Demon is a bit agnostic of what's going on around him in terms of his role in this team and how he plays. He just needs to hit his shots typically to get this kind of rating. And he did get a crazy rating, 1.43, rating 3.0 in the last week. Absolutely fantastic. Launex, 111, unobtrusive, you know, decent. Nothing too crazy. But it is Demon still leading the way on this team's openings right now, which I thought that would be more what Launex comes in to take over. But for now, Launex playing more of a pack role. Demon leading the way in the star rifle capacity, really. Yeah, but insane round swing, insane KPR. We know he's got like this really good aim when he's peeking people. Like if he's peeking you, you're dead. That's pretty much the Demon experience. He's that sharp. We've seen some struggles on stream. We've watched some demos where he's struggled to adjust to other people's actions or struggled to really like improvise very well on the fly. But in a set piece where he's leading the charge, he's usually good for at least one banger of a headshot. So yeah, Demon, my prospect of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, so like he's obviously a solid player. I think this is not the first time we've had him on as this week's prospect. No. It makes sense. He's doing really good. He kind of turned around because he was one of the weaker guys on the Navi Junior team when they were kind of just starting out.
He was one of the guys. Stupid streaky. That was the problem. He would have these sorts of peaks, but he'd have so many just bum maps, just so low that it was kind of hard to see it. But if you looked real hard, you could notice some of it.
Yeah, and now he's improving on that, so that's really good for him. I've also picked a Ukrainian player. I've picked Jambo, kind of one of the players leading the charge for that DracuLAN title for Fnatic, and that's solid. See, I think obviously they had a little bit of a weird go of it so far this year, Fnatic, with their roster moves and how it's gone here and there. Obviously having Burmilov for a while as a guy they signed while trying to sign Jambo or something. But they've got a roster, and it's starting to work out great. You're getting that level out of Jambo is really good for a LAN event like DracuLAN. And yeah, unlike in Blast Open where it's been sort of Cypher carrying the way a little bit, it was Jambo and BlameF doing most of the heavy lifting in Romania. So yeah, it's as simple as that. He's played a really good event. MVP. I would call him MVP of DracuLAN. So if there was such a thing, and yeah, solid. The level we want to see out of Jambo after the Shanghai major, where he showed there. This is the level where I feel like he hasn't really. I mean, it's not that he hasn't shown it. He's been solid, but like Fnatic haven't been able to show it, and they haven't been able to put him in a position where that 124 actually leads to something until now, basically. So, yeah, great job.
Yeah, no, Fnatic, great run to win DracuLAN for them. Kind of seems to have hyped them through so far this Blast Open run. I think it's just feeding off the energy has helped a lot. Jambo, he's a player with streaky mechanics, like because he's very flick heavy. He kind of defines for me in my head this sort of style of AWPer where every gun is a scout. It's just always just a crazy flick for some dumb reason. But he hits quite a lot. He's one of the more consistent players I've seen using that style. He's just been outstanding for this roster recently. Yeah, great pick. And he will be dangerous for a long time to come.
Yeah, good clutches as well. He's got 2 of each out of 1-on-1, 1-on-2, 1-on-3. Didn't lose a single 1-on-1 either. Solid.
But yeah. All right. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Tell us in the comments your thoughts on any of these stories, any of these details we've gone through. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Remember that members get access to bonus content and the right to vote, just like they recently did on the next prospect. Find out who that is soon. We'll see you next time.